Hi, everybody, and welcome to the FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 18. I am your host, and with me, as always, is my teenage son, Jackson. Say hello, Jack.
Hi, I like Kip Sabian.
You do. So, first thing to mention, obviously, you probably just noticed if you're a regular listener at all, is we just tried out a new theme song. So, It is by the same gentleman. His name's Shane Ivers, and he's on, there's a website I use called Silverman Sound to get license-free music. I thought it was pretty cool. Jack, you liked it better than the original.
Yes.
So we'll see how you guys like it. Just trying something new.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I'm going to try and remember to do each week right out of the gate here. So remember, you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast. And feel free to like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you need to do on any of those platforms. We always appreciate it. And I just want to thank everybody because episode 17, I think, is from the metrics I get to see, is our most listened to episode yet. So that's really cool. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out or continuing to check us out.
And we got our first email and
we did.
Instagram thingy.
You knew that was going to be coming up. I have that scheduled to talk about. We actually got, after joking about it forever, we got our
thanks
first...
to that one person in particular.
Yep. Devin, I'll just call him Devin. I won't use his full name in case he doesn't want it on here, but he drives a truck and passes some of his time listening to the two of us, and that is really cool. So I appreciate him contacting us, Instagram and an email. So he will forever be enshrined as the first ever listener to contact the show. So that's really cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I going to talk about that's been going on? How's school this week?
It happened.
It happened? Nothing exciting?
Nope.
Except you lost one of your headphones.
Oh, yeah, I did.
That's disappointing.
Got wireless earbuds and I lost one.
Yep, lost one.
I am smart.
Lost just one. We still have one.
Yeah.
So can you still use one?
Yeah, but that's dumb.
Well, then don't lose them, I guess.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I guess our other excitement in our household is we bought a new vehicle this week that we'll be
exciting.
Getting on Monday or Tuesday, it sounds like. It's been 11 years since we bought a car, so I guess we're about due, and it's the exact same vehicle that we just had for 11 years, just 11 years newer and a lot nicer, so it's pretty cool. Nothing exciting, but just a nice upgrade for us. Every 11 years, I guess, we try a new vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so don't have much else to say here. What about you, buddy? That's great radio. Are you ready to get into news and rumors then?
Oh, yeah, we got TakeOver War Games coming up on December 6th, and Survivor Series is tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, Survivor Series is tomorrow.
We still recorded it, and...
I did. I said it this morning, actually.
I like SmackDown's chances.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it. I have, in any other business, I thought we'd make our predictions for the show, as we have started doing. So are you ready to get into news and rumors then?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
All right, let's do it. So we'll usually start out our news and rumors section with the ratings from this week. So Dynamite averaged 850,000 viewers, which is up 11% from last week, while NXT saw an average of 638,000 viewers, which was up 1%. So by normal terms, that's a pretty big win by AEW this week. That is a considerable margin of victory for them, bigger than what it is on most weeks, I think. So that's good. In the key demographic, AEW drew a 0.37, which is up from 0.30 last week, and NXT was down from 0.16 last week to 0.14 this week. So basically what those numbers mean is AEW won fairly large margin this week, bigger than last week. So I don't know. You have anything in the news?
McIntyre obviously Drew McIntyre won the WWE title on this week's episode Raw.
Right.
Once again, the WWE title changes hands last minute before Survivor Series.
Yeah, that has happened the last few years, right?
Not last year because all the titles were on the line, so there was no champion versus champion thing.
Right.
But 2018, Bryan beat Styles the week before to secure a match against Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And then Styles did the same thing the year prior when he took the title off Jinder Mahal, which is good because no one wants Jinder versus Brock Lesnar.
So it's a Thanksgiving tradition, basically, I guess, for them to lose a title or change
the WWE title
hands.
Specifically.
It does make a better matchup, I think. Reigns
but I
and
just wish they would have at least seen this coming. And McIntyre, McIntyre was the previous champion in this case, so he could just kept the title. In the other cases, it was like...
I guess, but I feel like they've developed his character a little bit in the time he's been off, and it's a little more interesting to watch him chasing the title. I don't know. It's different, at least.
I guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it,
it's
so
kind of
I don't care too
much. A lame
much.
little reign for Randy Orton, right? 3 weeks?
So anyways, he's supposed to reportedly feud with Sheamus after Survivor Series, which I think is dumb, and that's lame.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't watch enough to really judge if Sheamus is interesting at all right now. I haven't seen any of it lately.
Same.
The only other thing I really had on here is I found it interesting. I was reading something yesterday that Jericho on an episode of his podcast talking with Court Bauer, who is, I forget what his title is. He's the owner, founder, something way up in MLW. I used to listen to a podcast with him and another guy, and I thought he was on with John Pollock. They did a podcast, and I thought it was fantastic, and he was really interesting. At one time, he did work with WWE as well. And so Jericho, they were talking about how scripted promos in the WWE started in around 1999 because they're saying Vince was obsessed with defeating Friends on Thursday nights because it was like the runaway hit, top in the ratings show. And so basically if Friends was a scripted show and doing that well, then WWE could do it too, sort of thing. And then Jericho was talking about how his debut promo with The Rock, however, was like completely unscripted, and they were just sort of trusted to go out and do it. And as we know, that was one of the all-time great.
Sorry, my drink's being done.
Yeah, that's great. I'll fix that in post-production, maybe. We'll see. But that was one of the sort of great promos of all time, right? And it was not scripted at all. And I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I assume what they're saying is true. I'd have no reason to doubt them, and it honestly sounds completely like Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like
interesting that's the reason.
Right, that to compete with Friends, because I don't think you understand as a young person how big that show was. It was.
But also, it's huge. Like because people who watch Friends are also gonna watch wrestling because those two things are very similar, right?
But I forget who talks about it, but they frequently talk about one of the things I listen to is that Vince McMahon doesn't watch anything else. He is convinced that WWE products give you everything you need. Right? If you want comedy, this is all in theory, obviously. If you want comedy, it's there. If you want drama, it's there. Whatever you want is on WWE.
If you want a storyline involving dog food, it's there.
So why would you watch anything else is what he doesn't understand. Because to him, WWE Entertainment satisfies all of his entertainment needs, and it should be that way for everyone, I guess. Anyways, do you have any other news?
This will be more in line with your stuff because it is about Impact Wrestling.
Nice.
Ethan Page and Taya Valkyrie's contracts, among others, coming up with Impact Wrestling this week.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. Yeah. I really like both of them, obviously.
And Alexander's contract is not, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't want one of them
leaves, maybe Paige is leaving, and that's why they dropped the tag belts. Also, because it's the Good Brothers.
I was just gonna say, are the Good Brothers ever gonna lose? As if, right?
But like that, if Paige leaves, it would at least provide a little more context to their win.
It would, and I hope he doesn't, because I honestly don't see him as a singles guy. I mean, maybe that's just because I haven't, and I love him as a tag wrestler so much. But interesting, and we both like Taya quite a bit. She could work anywhere, in my opinion.
I mean, Morrison's back in WWE, so...
Right, so that may open the door for her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Triple H reportedly looking to expand visibility of NXT. Obviously, how shows have been canceled. NXT apparently used to do like 2 a week.
Right.
It was a way to get...
We would go to them.
Different talent on... in front of an audience.
Exactly.
Right, so they used to do those a lot, so I'm not sure what Triple H is going to be... planning, but he's looking for something to just kind of expand NXT further.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be like another hour on the network or something that's like almost like dark, but actually on their channel. Something, right, where they can get the undercard people and the people actually still training and improving.
Maybe because they're competing with AEW and AEW as dark, maybe they'll rip off dark.
You never know. Something similar. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, because WCW had Thunder and then all of a sudden SmackDown's created.
Right. That is what happened.
Yep.
I was
Something
watching
like
live
that,
back then. Good times. I know Thursday Night Thunder was one of my guilty pleasures. I know it's considered garbage and not... I don't know. I liked it because it focused more on not the main event talent, and that's what I prefer generally. But I've mentioned that a million times. I don't know. You got anything else on news and rumors?
Karrion Kross return soon, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be... haven't heard anything definite, but I don't think it'll be too long because I don't know how much time has passed. It always goes by faster than I think it has, right? And then
He got injured at TakeOver 30, which was August, I think.
August?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's... I don't know. It's been a few months, right? So I guess it could be looming.
Yep.
That'd be interesting. They need some star power. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, and then apparently Impact Wrestling tried to get a Kurt Angle return for Bound for Glory this year. Obviously, we're unsuccessful, but I find that quite interesting.
And I don't know where the value is in that. I don't see what that's...
and I don't know what that would have entailed either.
No, me either.
But Yeah, they tried to get it. Obviously, they did not. I wonder if he would have been in the Call Your Shot gauntlet.
And they sort of, I don't even know if I put it in my review, but at one point on Impact this week, the Good Brothers, they were sort of hinting AJ Styles. They were referring to like their phenomenal friend or something that's coming. And even the commentary team.
Yeah, but I don't think Styles' contract is up.
Of course not. They're just using it as like, people like us will talk about it. And now Impact just got mentioned on a podcast. So they win. Although they always
beat us.
They get mentioned on here all the time anyways.
Not in a good way.
Speaking of which, if you're done the news and rumors,
yep.
I'm going to just go into a Impact Wrestling Turning Point Turbo review.
I didn't even watch this, but when I saw the card on Instagram, it looked brutal.
So this is why it will be a Turbo review, almost a recap. A little bit of my opinion, but not a ton. And that was my first point, actually, was that you did not watch this with me, so Impact sort of missed their chance to hook you from BFG, right? From Bound for Glory I
didn't even want to.
Right, so this card didn't look great going in, and I was not sort of proven wrong.
I almost didn't watch Bound for Glory even, so.
Yeah, that's true. It just happened to be convenient. So the opener was Eddie Edwards defeating Daivari with the Boston Knee Party. In a basic opener between, I don't remember any storyline between these two guys, so it was just kind of like...
Just from like your coverage every week, I don't remember anything.
So it's just sort of like a cold opener. Here's two guys that in theory can wrestle, and they're going to open the pay-per-view.
And I think you're right about that, because I think Daivari hasn't been on Impact since being in the Gauntlet.
He was in Bound for Glory, and then I don't think he's been on since.
Here he is.
So there was zero build to this match. There was no rhyme or reason as to why they were fighting that I could tell. It wasn't terrible. It was just meaningless, basically, right?
And I think you'd probably want better talent. Like, if you put, like, say, Ace Austin and somebody randomly together, I think that would work out better. Just like,
I would rather watch Ace
not
Austin.
only is he a younger talent, but, like, he's probably a better wrestler right now. And also, it's just, like, if you want to put a random match, make sure you're putting good talent. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah, you're bringing in, like, another undercard, former WWE, former Impact, too. And he's not in his prime in Daivari, although he looks incredible. I have to give him credit for that.
Obviously.
But anyways, it just wasn't interesting. Then we moved into Rosemary and Taya defeating Tenille Dashwood and Jordan Grace in a decent tag match. And it was basically just to further this story that Tenille Dashwood can't work with other people. Her tagline is all about me. It says me all over the waistband of her tights, I think it is. So it's just this idea that she shouldn't be working with other people. She's just not capable of doing it.
But she wants the belt.
So this was fine, but there's been a lot of women's tag matches just on their weekly show that I've thought were better than this, so this was nothing special.
And it's a pay-per-view match, right?
It was.
It's supposed to be like...
A lot of these did not feel like it. That was one of my issues. Brian Myers defeated Swoggle with a clothesline, which I guess is his finisher now, in a not very good match, to be honest. Like, I have a bit of respect for them trying to treat Swoggle as just a wrestler, right? But it wasn't very good. And Myers, again, is
Spoiler, though, Swoggle did make an appearance on Dynamite.
He did. They don't seem to have a lot planned for Myers, right? He's just jumping around from minor feud to minor feud so far.
Yeah, because I find it funny. You didn't like him at the start, and then he had that match where he impressed you, and then now he's...
I think with Willie Mack...
Now he's doing nothing again.
Which he wrestled Willie Mack a bunch of times, but I think it was the first match I thought was really good.
Yeah, it was like his second match back or something, like... Because he challenged Edwards, or was it that you liked? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but since then he really hasn't done much. So then we get Chris Sabin and James Storm defeating Triple XL with tandem kicks in another pretty basic, nothing special match, which this show is absolutely full of, I found, which is why it's going to go so quickly. So Rohit defeated Cousin Jake to retain the X Division Championship in another decent match that was really just here to get to the segment afterwards, which is where Eric Young and his new muscle, I guess, Joe Doring of All Japan fame, who I really don't know much about. They make their way to the ring and destroy the Deaners. The Doring debut has been the most interesting thing so far on this, right? Because it's really just felt like an episode of Impact, but at least we're getting this debut of this. He basically is like jeans and a cowboy hat, kind of a Haas sort of character. Reminds me a bit of JBL kind of thing.
Except very muscular
pre-businessman. He's pretty big, yeah. He's not super muscular, but he's a big dude for sure.
He's got a bit of a Will Hobbs build a bit.
He looks like he's part of, I think it's in my notes later, like he's from the Smoking Guns back in the day.
Ha, yes.
Right? He's Bart Gunn, basically. So he's a former All Japan Triple Crown and Tag Team Champion. I don't know anything about him, but I always welcome new talent, and this, honestly, was the most interesting thing.
All Japan? He does not look like he's from a Japan promotion.
Well, that's where he's been wrestling lately, I think is all they're saying. So Willie Mack defeated Moose after the referee reverses his decision. Moose refused to stop hitting Mac with elbows and forearms, so he's basically in a full mount position, just raining blows down on Mac. So Max stops defending himself, so the ref stops the match and gives it to Moose, obviously. But Moose refuses to stop just these elbows and forearms that looked okay, but nothing that was going to kill the man, obviously. So the ref ends up reversing the decision.
Fantastic.
It was a better display of Moose's new kind of violent character than some of the segments on TV, so I was okay with it. But again, it was nothing super exciting. And then, of course, the inevitable happened. The Good Brothers defeated the North, obviously. But I have to say it was the best match of the show by far at this point. And even Gallows, yes, Gallows, who I get pretty angry with most weeks on this show, he was moving around really well here and looked pretty good. He looked much younger. Maybe he stores all of his ability for title matches on pay-per-views, I thought.
Maybe he listens to the podcast and took your advice.
That's right. For sure he is. I think he just like rests up on the show and then pulls out a good match every now and then, maybe. So I did like this match,
The results of this match, for me, I didn't watch it, but it begs the question, why didn't they just win the 4-way then at Bound for Glory?
Well, I think they were just trying to stretch it out and have matches planned for multiple They had another pay-per-view in a month. They had to have something
Yeah, but North had to be transitional champions. That just doesn't feel right. Yeah.
So anyways, we'll see what happens for there. Maybe the Ethan Page contract situation is in play. I don't know. Then it's Deonna Purrazzo defeated Su Yung for the Knockouts Championship in a no DQ match. At one point, there was like a blank canvas like for a painting that was involved and ended up blocking the mist of Su Yung. So you get this visual of the mist is now spread across this canvas, kind of like a painting. And Purrazzo eventually wins a pretty good match, I thought, with, she calls it her Costa Nostra, I think, pile driver. And I like this, considering Kylie Ray's departure probably caused a lot of issues within this division and the title chase at the top here and made them really change plans on the fly. I think these women have done a really good job. Everyone that listens knows I love Purrazzo. I think she's fantastic. And Su Yung is really cool.
Everyone who listens knows I love Su Yung.
As long as they don't go too far into the supernatural stuff with her gimmick, yeah, I quite like her too. She's creepy and different and cool.
I liked when we went there and she was there and I tried to get a high five from the undead.
Yeah, but I don't need her like resurrecting the dead or sending them to alternate dimensions or whatever was going on with that. I guess that was Rosemary, but Su Yung had some of the interdimensional stuff. I
like when she put people in a coffin.
Yeah, she's cool. For sure. They just need to sort of rein it in a little bit. And then the main event, obviously, Rich Swann defeated Sami Callihan for the Impact World Championship with a bunch of kicks that culminated in a super kick, basically. Fine match, nothing special. There was never any doubt as to who was winning this match, especially with two title changes. With two title changes already before on the show, you kind of knew. And this hasn't been really built for Sami Callihan so much. I almost feel like it's more Ken Shamrock that's going to be the one contending out of these two, but we'll see.
Really?
So overall, not a memorable pay-per-view at all. Most of the wrestling was similar to an Impact episode. Really only the tag title and the Knockouts title match were worth watching, in my opinion. And I just don't think enough time passed between Bound for Glory and this. There wasn't enough time to build anything of interest. It was just sort of rematches or not a lot of build to it. So I was just saying, Jack, you really didn't miss anything because this was a little bit of a chore to watch. I didn't do it in one sitting. I did it in a couple sittings because it just wasn't anything compelling that I wanted to keep watching, to be honest. Sorry, Impact. Nice. So I would give it like I guess I didn't give it a grade, but if I were to do that now, I would say it was like a C. A C. I'll give it a nice solid C. Now I can stop talking for a bit and we'll get into an in-depth review of our first weekly show, which is AEW Dynamite review, and that is mostly you, sir. So I'm going to refresh my memory on this. It's been a while, so go ahead.
Yep. So our opener was one of the matches we knew heading into the show, Young Bucks versus a new team called Top Flight. They're another brother duo, Darius and Dante Martin.
Yep.
They got a lot of
21 and 19 years old.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But good for them for getting a shot here. We learned that they were actually, I believe, recruited by Matt Jackson.
Yes, that's what they said.
Which I think is cool. So, we start with Darius and Nick Jackson. Darius Martin, Nick Jackson. So we get a lot of holds and counters. Shocker, I know. Dante tags in a leapfrogs and then a drop kick by Dante. The awesome clothesline. Sorry. I call it the awesome clothesline because that's what Miz calls it. Yeah. So I don't mean awesome clothesline as in it was good. It was fine.
Yep.
And as he tags into Darius, and Matt Jackson's also now legal. Nick tags in. There's a lot of tags. That happens a lot. Super kick by Nick. Matt hits a wrecking ball drop kick to Darius. Rising knee bulldog by Nick. as Matt hits the drop kick as well. It's kind of like a simultaneous.
I like that combo. It looks
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yep, I like it. Made a
So
note
Matt officially tags back in. Darius breaks up a sharpshooter with a kick. Matt buckle bombs Dante into Darius, which is kind of cool the way they did that.
Yep.
Some more double team offense by the Bucks. Dante reverses a Meltzer driver. Darius tags back in, chops by Darius, and a standing Spanish fly by Darius, and Nick Jackson breaks the pin. Darius hits a suicide dive to the Bucks, followed by a big tope over the top rope by Dante, which was pretty insane. The
Super
vertical on this
Yeah.
this dude is insane.
Yep.
And now he tags in. Counters by both teams. Top Flight has some insane agility, like I said. They really got a good vertical jump. It's really cool.
Yep.
Double kick by Darius to the Bucks.
Yeah, in one motion he kicks both of them, right? It was
it was a really cool
we had to go back
motion
and
there,
check it out again, actually.
Dante runs and does a front flip into a Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And then a spear by Matt Jackson, which JR mistaken for a clothesline.
That was, an interesting call.
Funny.
Clothesline of the stomach, I guess, maybe?
Yeah. Nick tags in a PK on the apron to Darius, which looked sick as always.
Yep.
An avalanche sliced bread powerbomb combo by the Bucks, which is really nice. Darius is thrown back into the ring. Dante counters a double team into a crucifix for a near fall. And then the Bucks get the win via a BTE trigger. And TH2 attack Top Flight afterwards, and Bucks chase them away. And Young Bucks win a great opener.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
The BTE trigger sort of came quickly. I felt like the finish came really quickly. I thought it was decent to good, and I guarantee I haven't listened to anything yet or read anything yet. Obviously, I try not to, but I guarantee people are going to go nuts for Top Flight, and I do agree that they have massive potential, but I didn't think they were amazing.
Thought their agility was pretty cool.
They're super young, and they put on a solid opener, and it looks like they're going to get to wrestle TH2 now or something. I don't think this made the Young Bucks look great. They got not a ton of offense in against a really inexperienced team, but this is how AEW does things, right? So I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
These kids are obviously super talented. And I guess I was wrong about the Young Bucks being heels because I didn't see any heel tactics here. I was hoping they were just carrying on with subtle heelness, but it looks like not.
Yeah.
And then my biggest comparison would be when Ben Carter wrestled Scorpio Sky. I'd never seen him, and based off that match, I was pretty sure that this kid could be a star, and I just don't feel quite that way about Top Flight. Not that I don't think they have a place or they're going to be good, but that Ben Carter match I thought was incredible and was like this. They could have a star on their hands and they need to sign him, which they did not. But it's just a sort of similar situation, and I felt more strongly about Carter's future for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
I sure this was a good showcase for Top Flight. I am open to seeing more of them, which I think we'll be getting with the TH2 match, like you said.
Yep.
They have some insane agility and have some talent. I think they might be on the same level as Private Party. But they just need more charisma, just because they're both these green teams who have massive potential, right?
Yep.
And I think they just need more experience like Private Party, and they have, like I said, a lot of potential. I think AEW, though, is a perfect place for them. And honestly, I hope I could see more of them on Dynamite rather than just on Dark, because obviously we don't watch Dark.
I think they need some time on Dark too, though. But
yeah,
for
but
sure.
I'd like to at least get a couple more matches on Dynamite for them, just so I can see more of their matches, just see how they're progressing.
Yep, absolutely.
So next we have our part 1 of Inner Circle in Las Vegas. So they're in a casino. They're playing blackjack. Sammy tells Jericho he has 21 in blackjack again, and MJF hears him. And then MJF plays a blackjack, and Sammy plays cards. Think he had the blackjack, but when Sammy was telling Jericho, MJF heard and swapped the cards quick.
Yep.
Which he said was kind of impractical.
It would never be allowed in a casino. But for this, it's basically the idea that Sammy is as I put in your kid language, a noob gambler, and MJF sort of taking advantage of the fact that MJF knows what's going on and he's been in casinos, and Sammy has no clue. So MJF again, it's just this, for whatever reason, he's targeting Sammy to mess with in every one of these little scenes, and I kind of like it.
And then after you said it was called Craps.
Yeah, they're
which I find funny.
Throwing dice, yeah.
And MJF won again. Then there's some dancers. Hager and Wardlow keep staring at each other, which I find funny.
Me too.
MJF and Jericho are at the bar. They continue to change their drinks, kind of like they do with the steaks. And you were telling me it's harsher and harsher alcohol as it goes on.
Right.
Then they drink, and both are sick as they yell SOB.
Yes. I think they went
y'all
with
know what that
100
stands
proof
for.
liquor, which would be super, super strong, and it was...
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
They bring in Conan, and then they smoke in the limousine. They're drunk. They're all laughing. Wardlow punches a guy. Hager punches a guy. They both beat up
Right.
people.
Random
And
people.
that's it for now. I just wrote it was a funny segment, and it was better than last week and the dinner debonair.
So it's sort of... This segment ends with them. The final shot is them like walking through a parking lot with Elvis, right? So this storyline and this sort of thing seems to be based on a movie called The Hangover, which I don't think you've seen yet, and you won't see for a while, but at some point maybe we'll watch it together, where it's basically a group of guys go on a bachelor party into Las Vegas, and all kinds of crazy things happen to them. So there is a lot of similarities between this, and I thought this was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, it
really
moved
liked
quickly. It was fun. I liked it.
Yep.
Yep.
Next we had a quick John Moxley promo. The audio is actually good here.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice. I don't think I noticed any issues this week. Thank you.
Mox says
They're listening to us again,
Yep.
obviously.
Mox says he's been champ for so long because of his dad. Tells a story about getting picked up from the police station. His dad telling him they're the good guys, and then says he's survived cheaters and sneak attacks, and he's the good guy. He says that a lot, and he doesn't fear Omega. Just kind of building hype for the big title match, which I can appreciate. Just another basic Mox promo. Not as good as some of his other ones, but not bad by any stretch.
I have the same, right? Like another solid promo by an excellent talker. I don't really have anything to say that I haven't said pretty much every week on this show, right? And it's going to start to sound underwhelming, but the guy's really good, and he's really good every time. So that's just all there is to it, I guess.
Yep. And so next we get a one-on-one match. It's Orange Cassidy versus my boy, Kip Sabian.
You might be the biggest Kip Sabian fan.
I am the biggest Kip Sabian fan.
Right.
Damn
and
right.
Miro on commentary for
yes,
this, right?
Yes, sir. A.K.A. Rusev. Well, F.K.A. Rusev,
Right.
actually. So we get a fake slap from Cassidy, and then Kip blocks Cassidy trying to put his hands in his pockets and takes him in a headlock takedown. Cassidy counters into a headlock of his own, then more holds and counters. Cassidy puts hands in pockets and does his usual evasive maneuvers, and then hits the drop kick and then the nip up, and then a suicide dive to Sabian. Penelope blocks Cassidy's entry into the ring temporarily to buy Kip time to hit a springboard enziguri as Cassidy gets up to the apron. Corner drop kicks by Sabian, which I thought were kind of neat. Cassidy blocks a superplex attempt and then a damagiri by Sabian. Diving crossbody followed by a tilt-a-whirl DDT for 2 by Cassidy. Sabian blocks the diving DDT and Cassidy avoids another springboard enziguri. Diving DDT by Cassidy for a near fall, and Kip unfortunately does a botch on the ropes.
He does.
Which I found sad.
Yes.
But then when Shotzi Blackheart does it, I chuckle.
Everybody botches, right? Some of the greatest wrestlers ever have botches. It's not the end of the world. We just notice them and move on. And if it happens all the time, then that's something else.
And if it's someone bad who does it, like Shotzi or Sin Cara, then we laugh a lot.
If it's just a consistent thing, then it's different.
It's funny. Suplex attempt by both, but Sabian is the one who hits the suplex for a 2 count. A fisherman driver for a near fall by Kip Sabian. A pop-up knee by Kip. Cassidy counters a swinging neckbreaker into a mousetrap for the win. Orange Cassidy gets a win. Miro attacks, and best friends chase away Miro and Sabian. Your thoughts?
Sorry, no, I thought it was just okay.
I agree.
I thought this was a slow match for 2 small, quick guys. There were no amazing spots. There was one part where they were in the corner fighting, and it was really slow and boring. There was that mini botch, which isn't a huge deal, to be honest. I thought Miro was...
But it doesn't help the match.
I thought Miro was really bad on commentary. Like, I did not enjoy him. He didn't add anything. He maybe took away from it.
I just like him as a ringside manager, but I guess they had Penelope there, so...
One thing I did like that Sabian was doing near the beginning is that every time Orange Cassidy would go to do his slow taunt of, like, he's going to put his hands in his pockets, Sabian would deliver an offensive move, which makes sense to me, right? That's a smart thing. The guy's standing there doing nothing. You can attack him, obviously.
Yep.
I'm a Miro fan, I guess. I keep saying that, but I haven't liked anything he's done since he's gotten to AEW.
I know, it's like, it's this signing that everybody's pushed for because he's been so underused in WWE, and then almost more of the same here.
And I don't mean to upset you, but I think Kip Sabian is just a guy. I mean, he can wrestle, but there's nothing...
he's got potential.
There's nothing exciting about him. The pairing and the fact that all we know about them is they like video games isn't working for me.
I don't like the tag team of them, but
one of my least favorite things AEW's done, and it's lasted a long time and gotten this much time on TV. And I hate to say this too, I think I'm growing tired of Orange Cassidy's stuff. I knew I knew it was going to happen. There's only so many unique ways to use him, and it's honestly lasted longer than I thought. But I don't know. His character needs to progress or change or do something else because I don't know. It's fine, but I used to think it was really entertaining.
Me too. I think that sucks because I really did like Orange Cassidy.
Right.
When they started with that match against Pac, I was like, damn, this guy can go, and they've done really well with it. And now it's just like a little oversaturated.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. His whole character is he doesn't care and he does these lazy kicks, but then he can actually wrestle, and that's kind of the formula all the time. And I don't know. I hope that they're smart enough to do something that I'll get back on board with him. But I think they're right to have sort of moved him down the card a little bit at this point because he definitely was hotter about a month ago or whatever.
Yeah, I just wrote it was an okay match, but I think both of these guys need some better feuds.
Yep.
I really like Kip. Even if he's not going to be a star right now, I can wait. And I want him to do well, even if it's just the TNT title. Look, I don't expect this guy to be in the main event. I know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But I want him to at least do something because I think he does have some talent, and he might need to work on it for a while, and that's fine because that's how things work.
Yep.
But I have hopes for this guy, and I don't even care if Mio betrays him eventually, but as long as they could eventually present him as like a credible single star, then I'm happy with that. I wish he had a few more matches on Dynamite instead of just Dark, because I feel like that's a lot of people, like Spears and like I guess the Guns, but I don't want them on Dynamite.
Gun
but
Club.
like even like Scorpio Sky, who's pretty good, he's on
really
Dark
good.
a lot, right?
Yes.
So I think they have a habit of just like, and then they're just not visible enough, right?
Yep.
But I think he'll be a good TNT champion. He just needs to, I think, prove himself and get some more experience.
Well, I hope you're
and
right.
some quality feuds.
Because I don't see it, but
And maybe a little more prominence would help too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be too biased here, but I have high hopes for him, and I'm hoping he'll get a shot at success, even if it takes like a while, like I said.
You never know.
And as for Cassie, I think he has proven he can go and maybe be in the main event. Obviously, you said he's kind of burning out on you, which I can see it. I agree as well. But I think it's also because it's not the best time for him because both of the title scenes are kind of occupied, right?
They are.
So if you think about the main event scene, you've got the Mox Omega feud right now, and Kingston always lurking around, right, among other people.
Yep.
And then the TNT title scene is different, whereas Cassidy could be a perfect TNT champion. I think he'd be great at it. But right now, I think there's a better contender for champion in our current champ, which is Darby Allin, right?
Yeah.
And Allen's more popular, I think, and more main event bound than Cassidy. So I think Cassidy would be a good champion. The time's just not perfect.
I think the time may have passed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe they can rebuild him again, but anyways.
Yeah, and guys like Cassidy and Sabian and MJF and Guevara and Allen, Private Party, maybe even Top Flight are the future. But like guys like Guevara and Sabian are like, it's not like Darby and Cassidy where they've been built a lot already, right?
Yeah.
Darby Allin's had like those matches with Cody and Mox really, and then Cassidy had that Jericho feud. But guys like Sabian and Guevara need a little more prominence. Guevara's got the inner circle with him, but like, what's he done other than that Matt Hardy feud, right?
I think he'll break free of that at some point, too.
I would hope so. And while Sabian is my favorite of the bunch, but all of these guys are going to give this company a bright future. And I think I could speak for both of us here, which is that's part of why AEW is so great, because they got all these fresh talents that are going to, if the company can stay alive, then these guys are going to be the future, right?
And I would include Jungle Boy, and who they've really stopped even... They're not even on TV for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, I totally forgot about Jungle Boy, and which is not good because he's great. So
they have a lot of talent for just one weekly show, right? So,
but overall, I was just disappointed in this match because it was decent, but like I like both of these guys. I think they're capable of more.
Yep. Let's move on. That's a lot of chat on a mid-card match, you know?
Oh, I like Kip Sabian.
You do. That's fine. You like who you like, man. I like Rohit, so what can I say?
Yeah, don't judge me.
You like who you like.
So next we have the Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley contract signing for the world title match. The mega intro for Kenny Omega this time was all in comparison to Moxley, which I thought was funny.
Me too. I quite enjoy these Josh Roberts.
And Omega signs the contract. Mox is laid out backstage.
Yeah, it didn't go the way I expected for sure. Not that it's a big complaint. I'm fine with it, right? They're rarely interesting anyways, so it adds a little bit of mystery, I guess, like who took Mox out. Omega showed more of his subtle heel character, which I'm really enjoying.
Like, it's not even like him saying like, all right, well, or like admitting to he did it, but he's like, I don't care, I'm still signing the contract.
Exactly, and it's
right,
just,
which I kind of like.
And even just having Josh Roberts reading those things on the way in is just I think it's very funny. I like this character he's doing. And we'll see where it goes, I guess. This isn't what I expected, but it was fine, to be honest.
Yeah, it was alright, but a little too short to be anything too interesting for me.
Yep, it was very brief.
Yep. Next we got Las Vegas Part 2. They celebrate inducting Elvis into the Inner Circle now.
Yeah.
And they're clearly very drunk.
Yep.
MJF says he loves them like brothers, and then they all do a wolf howl.
Which is, again, a reference to The Hangover, because it's the wolf pack. They talk about it in that movie as well.
NWO wolf pack.
Right.
I'm kidding. Next morning, they all wake up after being drunk the previous night. MJF has marker on his face from Sammy, which I find funny. Sammy got married 3 times. Ortiz is like a workout freak now. Santana's feeding chickens. And then we end with Hornswoggle crying outside in a diaper.
Yeah, so MJF wakes up fully clothed in a tub. He wanders off and finds Sammy in a fountain, right? And Ortiz is working out in the background. Yeah, it was just a barrage of weird scenes that I found it quite interesting. I don't know.
I thought it was funny. But the Hornswoggle bit was confusing. But they did say, I think it's like a to be continued.
In The Hangover,
next week, I think.
The Hangover, they end up, long story short, in care and control of a random baby. So that is the reference there. So yeah, it's ridiculous fun, right? And if wrestling has to do comedy, this is the type of stuff I prefer, right? It's just, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Next, we got Pac's in-ring return against the Blade. Eddie Kingston's once again back on commentary.
Very excited for this match.
Blade has got a Band-Aid on his head from last week because he bled way too much, like a ton.
He did.
Pac charges immediately with a shotgun dropkick. Repeated stomps. Pac throws Blade into the barricade. Top rope shotgun dropkick by Pac. Pac confronts Butcher on the outside, and Blade hits a wrecking ball dropkick off the distraction. Blade drapes Pac on the top rope out of a suplex position, just kind of like dropping him on the top rope.
Yep.
Slingshot DDT by Pac, kicks by Pac, Bunny distracts Pac, and Blade is distracting the ref as Butcher attacks Pac. And Blade hits a Doctor Bomb for 2, which is just a gut wrench set out.
Yeah, I'd never heard it called that before, so I'm not sure who the reference is, unless it's like Dr. Wagner is the only Dr. Death Steve Williams. I don't know.
A strike exchange post-commercial break, corner pump kick by Pac, a thrust kick by Pac, a scoop slam for 2 by Blade, superplex by Pac, a super kick to Butcher, a roll up by Blade with trunks for 2, and then a shooting star press to the back, followed by the brutalizer for the win, and Pac gets the win. And then I just wrote all caps, "Where is my black arrow?"
Right?
Where is it?
He's saving it.
This was a phenomenal shooting star press, but where is my black arrow?
We'll get it eventually.
Okay, before I cover the post-match stuff, what did you think of the match itself?
It was good, but I didn't think it was the best. And
I think
honestly,
Pac needs to look more dominant.
Pac is probably my favorite wrestler right now. So it wasn't the best Pac match. I thought it was a bit slow at times. There were some odd delays, I thought.
I got 3 favorites in AEW: Mox, Sabian, and Pac.
A lot of interference.
Oh, and Hangman.
I expected faster, better. Maybe it is ring rust. He hasn't wrestled in a while, so it's not like it was bad. It's still Pac. He's amazing. I'm not worried, and I'm thrilled that Death Triangle, not to ruin what you're about to say, are back together. But the speed at which this story is progressing between Eddie Kingston's crew and the Death Triangle, it feels WWE, right? It's like moving really fast, and I'm not being complimentary when I say that. It's moving really fast, I feel like. But because like last week it was Kingston with the whole Penta's my best friend, Penta's better. It like kind of out of nowhere, and it felt like they were pushing that really, really, really fast. At that split happened all of a sudden. Yeah. But anyways,
I think my favorite AEW people would be like Mox, Hangman, Sabian, Pac, and then I don't know, top 4 there. But anyways,
what was the post match?
So we get promo
stuff?
By Pac, and Butcher attacks him. Kingston cuts a promo. Mox, Pac, and Phoenix attacks him, trying to help out Pac. Butcher and Blade take control of him. Penta walks out with a chair, and then ends up chasing away Butcher, Blade, and Kingston. I'm just like, Death Triangle's back. Let's frickin' go, and I'm very pleased with this.
And I put, this should matter more, though. And this was really just developed last week, right? This is within 2 weeks, this whole story has gone, and I think it's too fast. You could have dragged this out and had cool combinations of matches and things. I don't know. It seems really, really rushed for some
de la
reason.
Muertes, that is fun to say.
It is, and it's awesome they're together.
And Death Triangle might be sort of tweeners in this feud, and I'm fine with that. But after this, they need a feud against some baby faces like Private Party, because they're not doing anything. And they need to go full heel and annihilate them. This is phase 1. And then I think phase 2 is going to be them as a full-on heel faction. I think Pac has the potential to be either a mid-card or world champion. Lucha Bros would obviously be tag champions with them. That's the dream right there for me, honestly. I'd like to see Pac preferably with the world title because then it'll leave the TNT title open to either like a guy like Cassidy or Sabian or maybe Sammy Guevara, right? And then also if he's world champion, he could go on like a tyrannical run and like hold the title for like over a year. I think that'd be great. And then you could set up like this babyface to finally beat him, and then that would give them an instant star boost. You know what I mean?
I would say
so. There's a lot of potential with Death Triangle.
Well, Death Triangle, I have trouble not gushing because it's probably 3 of my
for sure
top 10 in the world for me.
Penta
right?
is my 5th favorite.
So I love those 3 guys. So I'm hoping for big things for them too. I just feel like it's moving really fast, but I'm open to it.
But it's Death Triangle,
exactly.
So it's dope.
Yep.
So then next we get Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Yay! Backstage, she has Brandy Rhodes' arm trapped in a chair, stomps on the chair. Vicious Vixens are blocking the refs. Can't help but laugh when I say that name. It is hilarious.
Deeb and Swole are there as well, right?
They come to, or in Velvet, come to help Brandy after the chair stomp. I guess to check on her because they didn't really do much to help.
No, they did not.
This was
a thing that happened.
Yes, it was a thing that happened.
I think it was a better use of Jade because last week,
was dumb.
They asked too much of her. I think her first time ever on TV, and she's cutting a really lengthy promo that was I don't know.
It was just to introduce Shaq.
I didn't think it was awful, but I thought they really asked a lot of her, and it was too much for her. This was a more suitable time and role, so it's okay.
I still don't understand what her problem with the Rhodes family is.
I don't either. I didn't quite get the connection of
other than that Cody said he's a giant killer.
But did he?
Well, he did, but is he gonna go after Shaq?
And saying it's not like it's his nickname or it's something he regularly says, right?
He said it once.
Exactly. And now, so anyways, this was fine. We can move on. I don't need to spend too much time on Jade Cargill yet. Go ahead.
We get Serena Deeb versus Thunder Rosa for the NWA Women's World Championship. We get no announcement introductions, which I found weird.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Anyways, an aggressive collar and elbow tie-up, some holds and counters, and then I wrote lots of holds and counters.
I don't understand why more people can't do that aggressive tie-up. I thought it looked awesome, and it'd be something so simple to do.
Yeah.
Anyways.
An uppercut by Deeb, and which leads to a strike exchange. Arm drag and a body slam by Thunder Rosa. Senton by Rosa for 2. A thingy on the middle rope. That was weird. And I just wrote already, Rosa seems faster and more aggressive in this match, and I already enjoy it way more than her entire run in AEW up to this point.
I also have a Rosa really quick tonight.
Right? I found this way more effective to make me interested in her than anything she did previously, because before this, I did not like her at all. And now, in this, I'm just all right, she's cool.
It might be she's just comfortable with Deeb, right? Maybe they've wrestled a bunch, or Deeb's trained her, because I know Deeb trains as well.
Or maybe they had a baller match in NWA too, because we didn't see that.
I agree. This was a step up for sure. Sorry, keep going.
And an awesome clothesline in the corner, followed by just a repeated clothesline hits. Still in that position by Rosa. Dropkick and a double underhook suplex for 2 by Rosa. Nice combo there. Neckbreaker on the middle rope by Deeb. Kind of just draping Rosa over the middle rope with the neckbreaker. Spear on the apron by Deeb, which was pretty cool. A 2 count from that. Sorry.
Okay.
A Rosa counters a GTS into a kick. German suplex by Rosa. Yep. Missile drop kick from the top sends Deeb to the outside. Reba distracts the ref, and Britt Baker hits a swinging fisherman's neckbreaker to Rosa on the
drift
stage.
Away? Yeah.
Yes, drift away.
Yep.
And Nikki Cross also used that too.
Oh, yeah.
Power bomb for 2 by Deeb. Jackknife pin for 2 by Rosa. Pins by both. Submission by Deeb. Rosa gets out and hits a stomp. Strike exchange, spinning back fist, and a facebuster thingy for 2 by Rosa.
Yeah, I had a backpack facebuster because I didn't really know what to call it.
Back and forth pins, double underhook styles clash things. I think it was called a Swiss Special by Deeb for the win. And Serena retains the NWA Women's title.
Yeah.
Then Rosa snaps and attacks Britt, who's in the crowd, and referees separate them, kind of setting up a feud. So, yeah, it was a good match. I liked it. Sets up something for Rosa here, so I guess she's not going to WWE.
No,
which
doesn't
I'm
look
fine
like
with.
it.
I really like Britt Baker, and after this match, I'm more of a fan of Rosa. I still would like to see more of her, but I'm actually at least a little interested in her, so
Good.
I'm open to this feud. What about you?
I thought it was a good match too, and I think the interference allows Thunder Rosa to sort of save face in a loss, and for Deeb to think she legitimately won, because I don't think
No, she didn't.
she
see
didn't
it, right?
notice there was any
Which I
interference,
like, because
right?
it's not like she's like
Right.
it's not. It doesn't come off as her
She
having an
didn't
advantage
cheat.
because she had no idea,
Right.
right?
So I think Thunder Rosa is the star out of these two, and a Rosa Baker feud would for sure be interesting. It feels like this is where the focus of the women's division should be. It's just sort of disappointing that like the best women's match we've seen in a while on the show is neither of them are AEW competitors, right? Like,
Well, Deeb is signed to AEW, but it's
like,
not for an AEW title. Is what you mean,
right.
there? Like,
So it's more interesting than Sheeta, right? And anything that
I
she's done in
know,
a while. I mean,
yeah.
she's good in
Which,
the ring, but
yeah.
so
Even
anyways.
then, like I haven't been too impressed with Sheeta lately, which is not great.
No, but I
'Cause
did
she's
like
the
this match.
champion, but
Bottom
yeah.
line, this was a good match, and we'll see where they go.
Yep. So we get a quick promo from John Silver and Anna Jay. Silver reveals that Brody Lee demanded a title shot next week for Anna Jay because she's now ranked number 5. So then we get the reveal of Hikaru Shida versus Anna Jay women's title match next week.
So so being ranked number 5 means you should get a title match. Is that how rankings work? I guess I don't know.
I
I've
guess
only been
Brody Lee demanded
I've only
it.
been following sports for 40
Yeah.
years, but we're the 5th place team, man. We need a title shot. Let's go.
Yep.
I guess. Anyways, it's fine.
So, and then we're also getting Pac and Ray Phoenix versus Butcher and Blade next week. I think we should get Lucha Bros versus Butcher and Blade, maybe. No, we've seen that already. I guess this works.
Any
then.
combination is fine by
Any
me.
combination of the Death Triangle, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I'm excited for that. And then we got Will Hobbs in action next week, and then also Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus SCU.
Nice.
And then we've got Team Taz versus Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes, which is our main event. Hold on, my thing. Okay, there we go. My tab just went off for some reason, but I got it back. Which should be good given the talent involved. So Darby Allin vignette where he's on fire pre-entrance, which I thought was
Oh yeah, it's main event
interesting.
time already, right?
Yeah, which is good, I guess.
Yeah.
So we start this match with Starks and Allin, Ricky Starks.
Man, I gotta apologize. I have next to no notes for this, so I will not have much to fill in. I was just sort of watching it. I don't know if I was tired or what happened,
Or
but
if it was good.
I look back and I don't have a lot of notes.
Really. I do that a lot for NXT, so.
That's okay. Go ahead then. I'm
So we
trusting
got
you.
holds and counters as usual. Cage and Cody both tag in. Taz says, "Here comes Big Cage," because he's on commentary. He says, "Here comes Big Cage," and "Here comes Big Ego," which I thought was funny.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate in my opinion. Yeah,
Hip toss backbreaker by Cage.
I did make a note of that, so it must have been nice.
Yep. Kind of like his last match. He did that. What was it, against Seidel, I believe?
If he just had a little bit of personality and charisma, man, this guy, like, he
Cage?
looks incredible. He's got an incredible moveset, but he's just not super engaging for some reason.
You're talking about Cage, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then we got a leapfrog fall by a dropkick by Cody, and a moonsault by Cody, and then Darby Allin tags in. Cage catches a crossbody and tosses Cody over his head, but Cody lands on his feet. But Starks takes out Allin to prevent a tag because Cody was right there. A back elbow enziguri, German suplex combo for 2 by Cage, which is really nice sequence. Ricky Starks tags in. Back body drop by Cody, and Darby Allin gets the hot tag. Jackknife pin for 2. Cage German suplexes Allin and Starks.
Of course. As you do.
Which is interesting because Starks is his partner.
Yes.
A spear to Cody by Starks. Of course, got to get the spear by Starks. Oh, and I forgot to mention Cage did tag in.
Wasn't the best looking of his spears, because usually we're all over
They
them
look
looking
insane.
amazing. This one was okay.
But hey, it's not bad, so
Yep.
we'll take it.
Yep.
Pop-up powerbomb, and then Allin counters into a sunset bomb for near fall. Starks attempts a crossroads, but Cody pulls him off of Darby to hit a crossroads of his own. Then an Olympic slam kind of move
Yes.
by Cage.
Was
A
cool.
backwards headbutt by Allin to avoid a back superplex. Starks distracts Allin, and then an avalanche drill claw by Cage for the win, which looked pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a pretty big
And
move.
so Team Taz win, which is Starks and Cage. Ricky Starks post-match attack on Darby. Cody attempts to help, but is also beaten down. Will Hobbs runs out with the chair to chase away Team Taz. Hobbs raises the FTW Championship, and then in a swerve, hits Cody right in the face with it, and Hobbs joins Team Taz. And I just wrote good main event, good show overall. And I thought that was a cool swerve because I wasn't expecting that.
In a way, but then if you think about it, like, what was Hobbs doing the last couple weeks?
I guess just tricking out.
But laying the foundation for this big swerve, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, I like that there's...
It was a decent swerve, though.
I like that there's now a clear direction for Hobbs.
Yeah, and you could have a Haas tag team.
Absolutely.
Like you were saying.
Yep. So I thought this was a good match, not great. I really liked the last few minutes and an avalanche drill claw. I'm glad nobody kicked out from that because you really shouldn't.
And also Allen sold that like a champ, I must say.
Yep. So overall, this show was a bit of a mixed bag for me. The wrestling I thought was...
good for the most part.
Was good enough, but nothing really stood out to me. The opener was fun, but I have a feeling I didn't like it as much as a lot of people are going to. Pac Blade was decent. Sabian Cassidy was not special to me. The women's match was good, but had a bit of a screwy finish, right? Which, I don't know, it doesn't bother me too much. The main event had some good parts too, but there were a little bit of it that dragged to me. The Inner Circle segments were fun. The contract signing didn't really happen, but I thought that was good too. So I'm going to say... I said it was watchable. Nothing got me really excited, and I tend to expect more than watchable out of AEW, so I'm going to give this episode a B-, and I'm missing the days when I was giving it A-level grades. So it's been a few weeks since I've done that. What did you think?
So I wrote good opening tag match. I enjoyed for the most part.
Yep.
Funny Inner Circle segments was a great source of entertainment for this week. The Kip Sabian versus Cassie match wasn't good, but it also wasn't terrible. It just was kind of inoffensive.
I appreciate that you're honest about... Even with your love of Sabian, you're still able to say it wasn't great.
I think that match was just there to me.
I agree.
A contract signing that was hardly anything. Pac had a decent match, but I think needed to look more strong.
Right.
And the high point of that segment was obviously the reunion, the Death Triangle.
For sure.
The women's match was surprisingly good, which I'm glad to say.
Me too.
And sets up an interesting feud after in Baker versus Rosa.
Yes.
A star-studded main event that was enjoyable throughout and had a cool finish in the avalanche drill claw. And then the Hobbs heel turn was a cool swerve, and for me the cherry on top for a good ending to Dynamite. And so the opener, the Death Triangle reunion, the women's title match, and the main event were all strong to me, and including the Inner Circle segment. So I would give it, I guess, a B+ overall.
That's good. Yeah, it was. And I think
I was considering an A-, but I was
right.
like B+. Cause...
Thunder Rosa Britt Baker is going to be cool because that's like a mega heel and a really popular babyface. It's just too bad there's no crowds for it because I think that would add even more to it. But yeah, that's something to look forward to for sure.
Yep, and I'm a little more excited for that just because Rosa had a really good performance in the match, so kind of helps me to look forward to
getting on board.
Yep.
Okay, so that will end our AEW Dynamite review, and we'll move into our trivia-based segment, which is off.
Haha, I love this part.
Off the top of his head.
My favorite part.
And last week's I thought was really good, so
I
told you I had part 2 for this. So again, thanks to the Score from 2017 for publishing 30 facts from 30 years of Survivor Series, because they're making me look good.
So that means it started in 87, because if it's 2017, 30 years, yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm just cherry picking from this chart.
Right,
this
we
article.
left off at 2003, right?
So we're picking up at 2004.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like we ended at 2003.
You're right. Exactly. Okay. So you ready?
Sure.
The Undertaker's 13 wins at Survivor Series are 4 more than anyone else. So forgive me if things have changed, right? This was published a few years ago, so we're going by there.
I don't even know.
Can you name the Undertaker's Survivor Series 2004 victim?
Randy Orton.
No. Way too famous.
Kane.
No.
Hulk Hogan.
No. It's a nobody.
Oh, Luther Reigns.
No.
Think
of Road Warriors.
Animal?
No.
Heidenreich?
Yes.
Ah.
That was hard. Got you right off the bat. Winner.
Damn you, Heidenreich.
2005. For the 3rd year in a row, which superstar was the sole survivor of the traditional elimination tag team match, helping Team SmackDown overcome Team Raw in the main event?
Kurt Angle.
No.
Shawn Michaels.
No. Wow, I'm winning this week. Randall K. Orton.
I was going to say that.
Sorry.
Dang it.
I just don't want you to keep guessing. The point is either you know it or you don't, right? So you did not. 2006.
I was going to say Orton, and I was like, would he have, though?
Which WWE Hall of Famer had her retirement match at this Survivor Series?
Lita.
And as a bonus, who was her opponent?
Mickie James. She lost. And then Crime Time were selling her stuff after the match.
There you go. Lita lost to Mickie James. I did not have any notes about Crime Time, nor did I remember any of that.
I think one of them was her panties.
Nice. Classy. 2007.
Yeah.
The ECW, heard of it? Championship was defended for the first and only time at Survivor Series. Who won the match and who did he defeat?
Bobby Lashley?
No. 2007.
Let me think. CM Punk?
He retained against
Johnny Nitro.
John Morrison and
Mark Henry.
nope.
Big Daddy V.
Who's Morrison always with?
Nitro or Mercury?
No. Even today, to this very day.
Oh, Miz.
Correct.
Oh no, I watched a video with that, and that
So
was
you got
in
the
it.
Punk
Dang
and
it.
Morrison part. You just missed Miz. So I'll give you that one.
Damn
That's
you,
pretty good.
Miz.
So 2008.
I really thought it was Big Daddy V.
This superstar holds the record for most opening matches at Survivor Series with 5. So hold on, there's more details. So this is a hard one.
Jeff Hardy.
In 2008, his team of Morrison, Kane, MVP, and The Miz lost. Name the superstar, and as a bonus, any members of the winning team.
Was it JBL?
It is JBL.
Let's go.
That's crazy.
Ayo.
He lost 2. Can
Team
you
Michaels.
Name... Sorry?
Team Michaels.
Yes, which is?
Crime Time.
Yes.
Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Great Khali.
Yes. That's gross.
I watched the 2008 pay-per-view ranking recently, so
I was sure you would know
that was
that
sheer
one.
luck, honestly. I didn't even know if it was JBL or not.
Because who knows things about opening matches? Good job, sir. All right, 2009. Who holds the record for most losses at Survivor Series with 10? And I have a hint for you.
Okay.
At his final appearance, he came up short in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship against Triple H and John Cena.
Okay, so it's Shawn Michaels.
Correct, I knew that.
Because I think it was this year or the next year, but no, it was this year probably. He and Triple H were challenging John Cena for the title in a triple threat.
Right.
Because then Jericho were also facing Taker for the World Heavyweight title. It was like the world champions defend against tag teams.
Yep.
And so people thought Michaels and Triple H would work together, but Michaels hit a sweet chin music on Triple H literally right away.
It's interesting that Michaels has
everybody's
lost
just like,
10 times, eh?
Yeah.
He kind of could take it, though. His character never really hurt him to lose, to be honest.
Except
Right.
when he was new and they were building him, but that was like forever ago.
2010.
Okay.
This is a really interesting one, and I don't know if you know anything about this. This Survivor Series almost didn't happen. Can you explain why?
Nope.
All right, so there wasn't actually supposed to be one because McMahon basically canceled it, announcing he thought that the event should be rebranded because it was outdated or whatever.
Because there was bragging rights this year,
And then
which
there
is
was
similar.
basically public outcry, and he changed it and brought it back.
Yeah, because there's bragging rights this year.
I didn't even remember that, and it's only 10 years ago. Anyways.
I didn't even know that, so that's interesting.
So yeah, then what are the chances I'm going to know it, right?
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
2011. This superstar's historic 434-day reign.
CM Punk.
I knew I was going to...
He beat Alberto Del Rio. I played this in the 2K15
Did you notice
showcase.
I paused? Because I knew you were just going to interrupt me anyways, so
Yes,
I knew it was
I
coming.
had to say
Sorry.
it. It was too easy.
It was CM Punk against who?
Alberto Del Rio.
Good.
Or Alberto El Patron, if you wanted to call him that.
2012. 13 is the record for the most total eliminations in traditional elimination matches, and is held by which superstar? His record-setting elimination occurred at this Survivor Series, so 2012, when he eliminated who? So who has the most eliminations? That is correct. And who did he eliminate?
John Cena.
No.
Mark Henry.
You already mentioned him 2 seconds ago.
Alberto Del Rio.
Correct. It was Randy Orton, and he
Why
eliminated...
couldn't it be something about the Shield?
Sorry. 2013.
No, it's not your fault.
Your issues with the score, not me.
Yes.
2013. This event marked the last time the World Heavyweight Championship was defended at Survivor Series
Because it was unified in December.
before it was merged with the WWE Championship. Who competed in the match and who won?
John Cena?
Correct. Defeated? His
let me
name has
think.
come up a lot here.
Who? Alberto Del Rio?
Yes.
Jeez. Oh,
So-
yeah, because he beat Ziggler.
It sort of shows you
Or-
this is the time where Del Rio was a really big deal, right?
Yeah, because
Those years.
Ziggler cashed in on Del Rio, and then he got a concussion, so then Del Rio won the title back.
If you say so.
And then, yeah, Cena held it, and then also Damien Sandow failed to cash in.
Wow. All right, 2014. Who made his first appearance in a WWE ring after establishing his
Sting.
reputation in WCW? Who did he take out with a Scorpion Death Drop once he arrived?
Triple H.
Correct.
Because it was in the Authority versus Team Cena match.
Yep.
I think Team Cena was him, Ziggler, Ryback, Eric Rowan and Big Show, who Big Show turned heel, obviously, because Big Show does that a lot. And I think Team Authority was Seth Rollins, Kane, Luke Harper, was it Mark Henry maybe? And then I'm missing someone.
I cannot fact check you.
I don't know. I forgot one person, but yeah.
2015.
Okay.
We're going up. We got one more after this.
Tournament.
The Money in the Bank briefcase was cashed in for the 16th time in company history and 14th time successfully at Survivor Series. Who cashed in and who did he defeat?
Sheamus cashed in on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns just won the vacant title after Seth Rollins vacated due to injury. He beat Dean Ambrose in the finals of a tournament.
Right. That is all. Oh, I can confirm the Sheamus defeated Roman Reigns. After that, I'm just trusting you.
And Dean Ambrose wasn't wearing a shirt.
Interesting detail to remember. 2016, final one. And I don't think this is hard. Which wrestler came back from a 12-year absence to compete at this event in Toronto, and who was his opponent?
Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in just a minute, basically.
Beautiful.
Just over a minute.
Well, you started off really slowly.
It was in Toronto.
And then you crushed for most of it throughout the rest. So very good. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board because I had 2 weeks out of this beautiful article. So now I've got to find something new for this segment next week, but that's okay. I will figure something out. So good job. That will take us into our next in-depth review from Wednesday night, and that was the NXT review. We start the show with North American champion Leo Ruff being introduced.
Leon.
Leon. Oh, I have Leo in there.
Really?
Yeah, later I don't, but in the first line I do. He's being introduced, and he will defend his title in the opening match this week. So we get Gargano versus Leon Ruff right away.
Yeah, after the upset win we had last week.
Yeah, we get a recap of that big win last week with a bunch of reaction tweets over top of it, basically, before the match starts. So Johnny interrupts and demands they stop playing the video, and they do. Oh yeah, I forgot. He actually interrupts this little promotional video, and they do stop and listen to him. So he says...
Which I like, because he didn't just sit around and wait for it to end.
No, he wants it off now. He's so angry these days. He says Ruff is just a pawn in Priest's game to make him look like a fool. Leon is not a real champion. He's a joke, and tonight the joke is going to be over. And he cheap shots Ruff, and away we go right from then. Gargano is really aggressive right away with strikes and a hard Irish whip. Chops and forearms in the corner by Gargano for quite a while here at this beginning. Ruff eventually fights back with chops, punches, and some reversals, kicks, and then he has a couple of moves where he's just sort of bouncing off the ropes. I didn't quite get what they were. One, he goes from the top rope to the middle rope to the bottom rope, and then he executes a move. All kind of quick, cool-looking things. He is pretty interesting in ring, actually. Missed somersault off the top to the outside by Ruff that they act like hit.
To hit.
Yeah, he was supposed to hit.
Gargano's hands.
Yeah, Gargano had to reach up over his head and just barely contacted Ruff's hands, and then he still sort of sold it. It looked a little bit awkward. Crucifix attempted, and that's the move that won it for Ruff last week, but it's blocked by Gargano this time, and he hits a big clothesline. Ruff gets lawn darted twice into the opposite corners.
Looks amazing.
Looks really good.
I don't know if it's just him, because it doesn't usually look this good, but
I think it usually looks good, but it definitely looks better when Ruff takes it.
It never looks bad, but it looks insane.
He just launches him head first into the middle turnbuckle and then runs across to the other side and does the same thing, and it does look awesome. Then Priest comes onto the ramp as Gargano gets set up for some sort of kick, and Gargano's obviously distracted by this, and he gets rolled up by Ruff for a 2 count. I honestly thought that was where the finish was coming, and they were just sort of doing a replay of last week almost. We get a brief flurry by Ruff here before Gargano hits a nice power bomb, and then he actually hits that right after this a really nice looking one final beat. Again, I think it's the way Ruff sort of takes things. It might be a bit of him, right? Just being a really good seller.
Yeah, I think so.
But Priest drags Ruff out of the ring. You quickly hear him say, "I'm sorry," and then he basically knocks
sorry, kid.
Knocks Ruff out so that he can retain his title by DQ. The match was fine, and Ruff, the more I see him, right, he has potential depending on how they use him. The real point, I guess, was the finish that prolongs the Priest-Gargano feud and cements Ruff as part of it now as well. So it's sort of the three of them involved in this. I'm not sure how I feel about Priest behaving like this. I thought he was like the cool party guy who would never care enough about this to do this kind of stuff.
But now he's cares so much, he has to hit a guy for no reason just to prevent Gargano from winning the title.
Right, it almost seems like even messing with Gargano to this level would be more effort than the previous Priest. He'd be just yeah, whatever, I'll go back to the hot tub and I'll get another title. You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyways, it's an interesting way to have all three of them involved. The match wasn't really that much, but I guess the point was the stuff after the match, right?
Yeah.
Or at the end of the match.
Yeah, all the further the storyline of.
How did you feel about the match as a match before the stuff at the end?
The match was fine. Ruff did some good selling here.
And
I
he's
thought it
really
was really
quick
good.
and
Yeah.
he's really agile. He's just very, very small, but I mean, that's not a huge barrier for me.
But yeah, I don't really love Priest's turn of character, but I guess we'll see what happens
He
next.
doesn't seem to have a consistent character, right? At first it was like I wasn't really sure what it was. Then it started to shift to the party guy and ladies man, and that I kind of liked, and now it's shifting again. But oh well, we'll see where they go. So
Yeah,
then we
we'll
see
see.
Grimes is walking backstage. This is like just a few seconds, and he's afraid of no man because he's a rocket ship. And after he wins this blindfold match, he's going to go to the moon.
You know what's funny is I just recently watched a Cultaholic top 10. Shout out to Cultaholic. I love Cultaholic.
You do.
I watched a top 10 of match types they shouldn't bring back, I think it was. Or did I?
Blindfold matches?
Yeah, one of them was.
They're not my favorite either.
Or
I
was
mean,
it? I can't remember. I might have read it somewhere else. But
Jake
I think
the
it was
Snake
Cultaholic.
did a famous one, right?
Yeah, I think with Rick Martel.
But that one was like built up forever, and it was weeks, months, whatever. And Jake was like selling being blind for a very long time. There was kind of a reason for it.
Wow, you remembered it.
I do. I think I
Wow,
just recently
that's
saw
awesome.
something about it. Is probably why. But anyways,
Congratulations.
right? I know that's very rare that I'm giving details of something from history and not you.
I'm just saying it's rare.
The listeners are confused right now. How is the
Yes.
how is the deeper voice dudes shooting out facts about stuff that happened years ago? Because that's not his job.
That's not what you do.
So anyways, this was a really short standard thing by Grimes. Nothing really major there. And then Rhea Ripley is walking through the parking lot with her luggage. And I've noticed the last few weeks there's lots
Or even just like for a while now.
of people
they've
walking with
always done
luggage.
this. They do this a lot though. I feel like they've done this for like a while.
It's obviously it's them entering the building and the gear's in the little suitcase. I just think it's funny that this is now like a staple of NXT video is people walking with suitcases.
Yeah, it's weird.
Then we get the beloved blindfold match between Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis. So I'm not generally a fan of this type of match, but as you guys know, I do love Cameron Grimes, so we'll see where it goes. Although my fears about him are sort of
very not good.
my fears about him are, I think, coming true, right? The amount that the commentary team talks about Dexter Lumis's eyes now has officially started to bother me, and it's become too much. Like, again, they just look at those eyes. Oh, it's just his icy cold stares, like constant, especially when he was entering. It was really annoying.
And, like, that's why they're doing a blindfold match? That's just dumb.
Grimes' antics at the beginning of this match I thought were funny, right? Where he didn't want to put the thing on. I'm not going to be able to see if I put that on. Like that
Because he thought it would just be Loomis in the blindfold, I
That
guess.
stuff was funny, right? And then it quickly goes too far and starts to drive me nuts. So Grimes is like they both have the bags over their head. It's not even a blindfold. They're wearing a sack over their head, let's be honest. So he's freaking out and going through miming all these antics of not being able to see, and Loomis is just standing there doing absolutely nothing.
Which I hated.
Grimes ends up beating on the ref because he basically just
He
backs
feels
into
somebody.
him, feels something, turns around and strikes him, right? And then
Which I thought was actually really funny.
that was pretty funny. And then he takes his hood off to see who it was. So now we get this interesting spot where the referee's out.
Let's say this was Loomis, right? He's beating
Yeah.
up Loomis, and he takes the blindfold off after. Then the ref would see him take the blindfold off, and he might be disqualified or something.
Yes. But in this
So-
case, the ref's out.
Yeah.
Grimes now has his hood off, and Loomis doesn't. And so he goes to attack Loomis,
He
but
tries to go for the cave-in, I think.
it doesn't really get him very far. And Loomis quickly takes his hood off too, and then punches Grimes a whole bunch. And then
I think Grimes accidentally took off Loomis's blindfold when he...
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I think something like that.
And then there was a bunch of punches and a corner clothesline and a bulldog by Loomis. There's a silencer attempt. It's escaped with back elbows, but Loomis follows Grimes outside and throws him into a few different things, the barricade, the steps, etc. Grimes, impressively, I thought it was really quick the way he scales the barricade and the fence and then runs away, and that's all there was. So, your thoughts?
It was like a no contest. I hated this. This was bad. A horrible stipulation. The execution was even worse. The best part was when he beat up the ref, and that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then it's just like a no contest. Like, this was a waste of my time.
Grimes was made to look too foolish at times.
Yeah.
The very beginning when he didn't want to get in the sack was kind of funny.
And when he beat up the ref.
Beating up the ref was funny, but that again wasn't like him overtly doing comedy stuff, right? That's just something that happened. But when the whole overacting when he did first put the hood on and the way he's freaking out and flopping around the ring and Loomis is just standing there, this is what I'm afraid that Grimes is going to do, right? That's basically like, hey, we have some funny ideas, let's give it to Cameron Grimes because he's our comedy guy, which is a waste because he's a very talented guy. So I'm hoping this isn't where he gets stuck, but it feels like it might be happening.
which is a shame.
Yep, but again, everyone that listens to the show knows how we feel about that.
Yeah.
Then we get Damian Priest is talking to Regal about messing with Johnny. He's like, I was just messing with him for a joke, sort of thing. So Ruff is approaching, and he's basically heard the word joke again. And this is now a hot button for him, which I kind of like, because Johnny's called him a joke already tonight, right? So he sort of misunderstands and thinks he's being called a joke. So he approaches, he's offended by the reference to being a joke, and basically he ends up slapping Priest and walking away. And Regal just basically says to Priest, it serves you right. So I like that even though he's this tiny little guy, this is now a hot button for him. Like, he wants to be considered a legitimate champion. He's not a joke. And as soon as you call him a joke, he's basically very upset. So I thought this was fine.
Yeah. I liked it too. I actually did watch this on YouTube prior to this, so I did see it already.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good. I like that he was like, well, if you think I'm such a crappy champion, here, take the belt.
And it's a little bit of character
Right,
development, right? We know that he's proud of being a champion, and he really doesn't like being considered a joke or not deserving of it, and that makes him mad. And that's simple. It's understandable.
And that's something that would make a real person
exactly.
mad.
And we'll wait till you get into my TNA stuff about that kind of thing. But anyways, sorry, Impact, not TNA. Then we have Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Carter and Indy start out and they grapple briefly, and Carter tags out. We get quick tags here, a nice looking double team offense on Hartwell as the faces execute a bunch of quick tag team moves, targeting their larger opponent. And I thought this was a cool, anyways, I'll get to it. I thought this was a good segment, and it sort of leads me to an idea I have for these two. Head scissor takedown sends Indy to her own corner, sort of. I don't know if that was supposed to be by accident, but it allows her to tag in Candice. LeRae gains control and works Catanzaro's arm. Indy gets back in, and they control Catanzaro in their corner with stomps and Irish whips. We get a side slam, sort of boss man style, by Hartwell for a 1 count. LeRae gets back in, and the heels are now isolating Catanzaro further. We get a slam and a miss senton by LeRae and a hot tag to Carter. Clothesline and kicks to faces, followed by a unique forearm. She sort of had her bent backwards across her knee and was forearming her in the chest, sort of thing. And then a flatliner by Carter.
I saw that. That's kind of cool.
It was interesting, yeah. And then she turns that right into a flatliner from there to LeRae. Hartwell tries to help, but gets kicked, and Catanzaro does something high risk, we're told, to the outside, but the camera completely missed it, like not even any of it. So we're just told it was something high risk.
You just see them fall down, and
we never saw what it was.
Edge of the camera.
So hopefully it was safe and amazing. There's a kick to LeRae's head for 2. Carter misses a kick, and LeRae takes control with a brainbuster. Hartwell takes out Catanzaro with a boot on the outside, and that perfectly matches up with LeRae in time to hit her wicked stepsister on Carter for the win. I thought this was a pretty good match. I think Carter and Catanzaro are improving. And I like this idea where I think they should keep exploring these double team moves and coming up with a whole bunch of them. Because I like the idea that they're so small that they've sort of compensated by coming up with a whole bunch of moves together that they have to execute, right? Because of their lack of size. And I think some of their tandem offense looks pretty cool. And it'll sort of make sense in a context with like larger or more experienced opponents.
And if you're talking about larger opponents, I think Indy Hartwell was a pretty good example. She's
exactly what I'm thinking. And she didn't do much in this match, Indy, but she has a really cool look, and I don't think she was bad.
But she's getting experience and exposure when teaming with someone like Candice LeRae, who's, 1, prominent, so Indy will get on TV being involved in the storyline, and 2,
she's good.
Yeah, very good. So if they become a team, that benefits Indy Hartwell up a ton.
And we haven't loved Carter and Catanzaro, right? But I think they're improving, and I think there's a spot for them on the roster. They're that tag team that doesn't usually win, but puts up a competitive, entertaining match for now, and maybe they progress beyond that shortly. Yeah. But yeah, a better match than they've had before, so I was fine with this. We get a very brief Arturo Huas video that I really liked. I find him really interesting as just like a shooter. He's coming in as a legit tough guy, and he doesn't really say anything. I don't
dislike him, but I just don't really care for him.
I find him really interesting, and I hope they start to use him in any capacity, and that capacity is coming up now because he's going to face Kushida. So they grapple to start. We get kicks and punches by Kushida until Huas takes him down and begins to work the arm, wrist and fingers, so that joint manipulation by Huas now on the ground. Chops by Kushida, but Huas gets him to the ground and takes the arm again. Kushida comes out of a harsh Irish whip with a drop kick to take out Huas's leg, followed by a series of different kicks. Cartwheel basement drop kick by Kushida for 2. We get a hand stomp, but the head kick gets blocked. Kushida goes for a Kimura, but Huas escapes and tries to counter, but Kushida back bridges into a pin. So I don't think I did a good job covering the action of this match, really, because
I don't really remember too much of this match. That's probably not a good thing.
Huas's offense is really different because it's a lot of him just reversing and grappling and various things, which I actually find kind of interesting. It's a different style match. I like this. There's something about Huas and his style. I feel like he forces other people to work differently as well, and I find it kind of interesting. I know you're not sort of on board with him, so I didn't mind this.
I'm just kind of indifferent to him. I think
Yeah.
he's whatever.
I think it's like if we have to see Kushida wrestle, because we're not fans of him really at this point,
Nope.
then I'm glad it's against Huas, who I do have an interest in seeing, and it's getting him on the show. So that's what I'll say about that. We then get Ember Moon interviewed backstage, and it's awkward, right? Like her and talking don't get along very well, I find. So, and then Toni Storm walks by, and they make it clear that after tonight they're going to deal with each other about a title shot, but they'll try and work together tonight. And when will Ember Moon sort of figure out her character and get comfortable speaking? Because, man, she's good in the ring. And even, like, her physical charisma, the way she carries herself is really cool. But I don't think she gets her character. And when she talks, it always seems awkward to me. But anyways, all the other pieces of the puzzle are there. If she ever gets that down, she's going to be a star, a mega star.
Agreed.
Yep. So a video package with superstars predicting the winner of the Shirai Ripley match. I felt like they're trying really hard to make this feel like a big fight, when in reality, Io just picked Ripley, right, to fight.
I'm like, these two are such big stars. This should be a big match. But one, it's on TV, and if it's supposed to be such a big match, it's usually big matches aren't on TV. And two, it's been like a 1 or 2 week build. Like,
it's like they
honestly
did it backwards. They booked the match and then booked the feud after it, right? Instead of booking the feud leading to the match. It's like randomly a couple weeks ago, Io's just like, yep, my next opponent's going to be Rhea Ripley. And then they start building a feud from there. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it didn't affect the match, because spoiler alert, I love the match, but
Me too.
The build to it was interesting, not the way I would have done it probably.
I was really disappointed that I wasn't excited for this, because they're both really talented.
Yep, and they delivered, man, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we will.
A video package with... Oh, sorry, that's what I just said. So then we get Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Toni Storm. So we got a lot of women's matches on this show, right?
Another tag match.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, I'm not complaining.
Not at all. So Toni and Gonzalez start, and Gonzalez overpowers early, obviously. Irish whip and a running boot combo by Gonzalez and Kai, which I thought looked pretty cool. Kai dominates Storm in the corner with kicks and chokes. We get an atomic drop and a chop by Storm, followed by a basement drop kick and a snap suplex for 2. So I thought a nice little series of moves by her there. We get some strikes by Kai to gain control finally. A punt attempted, but blocked by Storm, and she tags Moon. The faces clear the ring and stand tall going into the commercial. Back from the commercial with Storm in control of Gonzalez. Moon is back in with hard strikes for both, and a stomp and a senton by Ember. Stiff kick to Gonzalez's face, and Moon looks really good tonight.
The super kick? I noticed that. I think I had you rewind for it.
Solid contact, and it looked like
it was cool.
You could see her head snap back from it.
Yeah.
Then she hits a code breaker off the ropes for 2, which I thought looked good as well. Moon then chases Kai outside and runs into a really nice big boot from Gonzalez. I don't know if it was just
2 kicks in a row were really good.
I don't know if it was just the camera angle or it was actually really good, but it looked really good from the way we saw it. Moon then gets dropped face first on the apron by Gonzalez and rolled in for a 2 count. Gut wrench into that over-the-shoulder backbreaker Gonzalez does that looks really nice as well.
Was it like that stretch thing she was doing?
Yeah, a nice power spot.
Gory stretch or whatever.
Yep. Then Gonzalez hits a pounce on Moon, and it was to pounce her away from making a tag, which I thought was cool as well.
I was like, whoa, Keith Lee.
It was a good use of it, yeah. Then Kai's in with a snapmare for a 2 count. I don't know why you'd go for a cover off a snapmare, but that's up to her. Hot tag to Toni Storm, and we get a German suplex to Kai and another and a third. So sort of a battle a little bit before the third one, but she does end up hitting it. Then we get a running hip to the head in the corner as Kai is sort of seated in the corner, and Toni runs in. It actually looked really good and hits her, sort of turns to her side and hits her with a hip. Then a fisherman suplex that's broken up by Gonzalez, who takes a headbutt from Storm. Swinging DDT by Moon and a super kick to Moon by Dakota Kai. Fast action by all in this little chunk of the match here. Storm and Kai are left in the ring and they're striking each other. A double clothesline and both of them are down. Running back elbow in the corner by Storm, but Kai follows her across the ring and a nice running kick. I was telling you I'm a sucker for this now. You hit one move against the ropes or in the corner, and as you go to run against the ropes again, the person you just hit follows you right in closely and gets you at the other side. I really liked it. Kai looked good doing it here. A kick by Storm, and Kai sends Storm to the apron. There's a ref distraction now by Dakota Kai, and Gonzalez runs Storm into the ring post. We get a really nice dive without much of a run-up, actually. She sort of started halfway in the ring and made it really quickly by Ember Moon to the outside to take out Gonzalez. So obviously they're occupied outside now. And back in the ring, Storm hits an inside cradle on Kai for the win. Hartwell and LeRae show up, and the four heels destroy Ember Moon and Storm, ending with Gonzalez doing her one-handed power bomb to each of them.
Yep.
And what did you think about this?
I thought this was a good match. And so, Kai and Gonzalez are a really good team and deserve a run with the tag titles. Storm and Moon looked actually pretty good. I would say mostly Moon, but Storm didn't look bad at least.
No, she looked, I thought so too.
Then LeRae and Hartwell are building a team as well. I like this because it adds more depth to the women's division, which has been lacking recently, and it would give a reason to bring the women's tag titles to NXT.
Yep.
Because prior, they said that these tag titles are cross-branded, right?
Sure.
They've only had like one defense in NXT, but to their point, there's not been a ton of teams that could be believable for the titles.
And the division is stacked. Like, you can make some teams, right?
Right, but now you've got Kai and Gonzalez, which is Diesel and Shawn Michaels, so I think they definitely need the titles. They are ready for it. And if Storm and Moon were to be a team, they would need to build on that more, but it's possible and there's room for that, right?
Yep.
And then LeRae and Hartwell, if they build that more, they would eventually be ready for the titles too. So, and I think the women's tag titles would be really good in the hands of NXT because NXT has a good reputation.
Well, they have the most talent for women by far. Like, if you compare what's going on here to the main roster.
We just need credible teams here to build some believable tag champs. So I think if we keep up these good matches and build some decent teams, we've also got Carter and Catanzaro. I think there's decent potential for a women's tag division in NXT. Obviously, I like Baszler with the belts right now, but I think they should bring the belts to NXT soon.
Yep. I thought this was an awesome match, honestly. From beginning to end, I really enjoyed it. Even Toni Storm, who we've complained about, I thought she looked good here too, which I'm really happy about. I don't want people to be bad. I want as many good wrestlers as possible, right? I thought Ember Moon looked awesome again. Since she's come back, she's looked really good. She looked aggressive and stiff in a good way, like some of her moves looked really stiff. And at times, I actually think every time, Gonzalez has basically been booked perfectly, and she's going to be a huge star. She never does anything she shouldn't do, and what she does do looks really good, right? They don't ask too much of her. She can handle everything they give her. She looks awesome, I think. And she and Dakota Kai are an amazing pairing. We used to joke about them being HBK and Diesel, but I think that's not a joke anymore. That's what this really reminds me of, to be honest. And I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Those two both went on to be legends and do a bunch of good stuff.
So then the brand arrive in the parking lot, and McAfee announces that the show
not the Kings of NXT.
No, they'd have I think they've dropped that. They haven't been referred to that. The last 2 weeks I've been listening for it, and they haven't called them that once. And their Tron says the brand all over it. It
says the brand, but that's because that was Pat McAfee's thing. Henceforth, that should be the name, but it's not yet.
I think they're just listening to the show, and they know we're right. I'm sure. Right? So McAfee announces the show has arrived, and they're interested.
Are they the show now?
And interested in what Balor has to say. Then we're given a quick shot of Io. She's getting ready, and they're really, really trying to make this feel like a big match. And I guess, why shouldn't they? They may as well try.
It turned out to be, but
Yep. Very quick
the build was very lackluster.
Rapid turbo build. Then we get Timothy Thatcher versus August Gray, who is already in the ring. And this is largely just a dominant performance by Thatcher, but I'll get into it. Punches to start with Gray getting the advantage right away. Backslide by Gray for 2. We get a nice belly-to-belly by Thatcher and a kick to Gray's back right away. Crossface by Thatcher, followed by a big uppercut for a 1 count. Corner stomps and a hammerlock and a gut punch by Thatcher, followed by a suplex for 2, and then transitioned right away into a submission, which I thought was really cool. Knees and an uppercut by Thatcher until Gray strikes back, but an uppercut takes him down again. Aggressive knee to Gray's back and more arm work by Thatcher. Uppercut by Thatcher, up kicks by Gray to break a hold, and then a big punch. And that's about all the offense he's going to get here, followed by more as Gray starts to take control for this brief segment. Super kick from the apron by Gray, and he quickly climbs the ropes, but he gets caught by a big uppercut as he jumps off. That looked pretty cool. Double underhook suplex, power slam sort of move by Thatcher. I don't know what to call it exactly, but it was nice. Aggressive looking guillotine slapped on, and Gray instantly taps. Thatcher yells that this is another lesson he has another lesson for Gray. Don't pick a fight with someone you can't beat. Thatcher then puts the hold back on, and Ciampa's music hits, and he walks out. Thatcher and Ciampa are standing face to face in the ring. Thatcher says he has no problem with Ciampa. He repeats that, and then he backs out of the ring, and Ciampa's left in there with his music playing. Thoughts?
That Ciampa part kind of confused me.
In what way? We talked about it a little bit, and I agree with you.
Just because Ciampa's supposed to be the heel, and he just started being a heel again. I guess now he's not.
I don't even know if it's that he's a heel. It's that his whole thing was...
Well, he was, and then...
last week, he's going to go after the loudmouths that just talk and say they're good, but aren't actually good, and I don't think Thatcher's an example of that, right? We were talking about that would be Austin Theory would be the perfect
Velveteen
person.
Dream, but they already did that. I think they really dropped the ball.
Or Velveteen, or
I think
Kona Reeves. There's a deep pull.
But like we had Ciampa and Dream already feud. I think they dropped the ball with that because they went because Dream accidentally hit Ciampa with the cast. That was the point of the feud. But I think it should have been like Dream's this like over dramatic guy who thinks he's the best.
Right, that would make more sense. Like, I think Ciampa and Thatcher will be a cool match. I don't have much doubt about that, but I don't think it's the most logical choice when he just last week made this big deal about I'm going after the people that talk tough but aren't actually tough. That's not Timothy Thatcher. Timothy Thatcher does not say much, but
Timothy
he
Thatcher is tough.
Right? So there's a disconnect there for me, but this match in particular, I actually really liked it, even though it was pretty much a one-sided affair. I thought Gray got just enough offense, and Thatcher looked dominant as he should, right? This is a master going against an apprentice. The apprentice isn't quite ready. Thatcher got like 90% of the match, and I thought he should. I liked Thatcher way more than I thought he would when he showed up in this promotion. I was like, this guy is not for me.
Agreed.
But he's really cool, and I'm okay with the match.
After he turned heel on Matt Riddle, I almost said Riddle, and then the fight pit match, I think that was a really good start to him and to his heel run, and he's just continued on nicely from that.
And he's just kind of different from everybody, right? He's got this, the role he's playing is a little bit different.
And like we said, there's a place for that on the card, right? His style.
Yep, so again, I don't think that it makes sense the Ciampa Thatcher route, but I'm okay with seeing the match.
That's also why, like, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm open to the R2O who guy. Like, there's a place for that. Even if it's kind of like a Sabian, where like even if he doesn't make it to like the main event or wins the title, like he's still decent. Like he has a place, right?
And you can always just book him as like a killer and get him a mouthpiece too. If
I agree.
You
could do that for Sabian.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Then after this, Ciampa is interviewed and he wants to fight Thatcher, and that's all he says. Like was honestly a couple seconds.
Good job confusing me, Tommaso.
Yep. So then we get Damian Priest versus, I don't know, because we never get to that point, because as Priest is making his entrance, he's attacked by Gargano.
I predicted it so good. I didn't even know. I just predicted.
Yes, Priest is climbing the steps. He gets attacked by Gargano. They battle in the ring, and then Priest takes control. Gargano heads outside to get away, and Priest follows and puts Gargano on the announce table. Gargano gets up, runs off, hits a running forearm off the table, but Priest hits a big kick as Johnny runs in to do another offensive move. He gets caught with a boot, basically. So good old Leon Ruff shows up and takes out both using his quickness, and it's so quick I couldn't even write it down, but he basically does things and runs one into the other, right? To take out both of them at the same time.
And like they're both on the outside, he's just like, oh crap.
And it looked pretty cool. And again, they're just sort of getting him into this mix with the three of them now. It's a good segment, I thought. It adds to the story of these three and makes Ruff look a little more legit, right? And I guess Priest is a tweener because you've got your heel and your face and one tweener sort of thing, I guess.
I think he's kind of a face, but like, because just based on as of late.
Yeah, because he is honestly trying to help out Ruff, right? And it's, I don't know. But then Ruff's like, are you trying to help me or you're just trying to mess with Johnny, right? And I think.
Yeah.
So he's sort of in between the two. But anyways, I was okay with this little segment.
Same.
So then we get this quick recap of Boa and the mystery man from last week, and that basically that symbol that got written on his hand, I think, means master. So I guess the man that visited last week is the master of whatever.
I thought he was like Zaya or Boa's relative.
Could be. Regal has been trying to figure out what's happening, so he goes to Boa's house, which I thought was interesting.
And how did he know where Boa lives?
Boa refuses to go back to the performance center, and he just keeps saying she's coming, right? And I thought
we would assume he's referring to Zaya, but
maybe. I thought this was a cool, like, 2-minute reminder of what's going on with this story. It doesn't take up much time. It keeps my interest because for whatever reason I am interested in this storyline, even though I think a lot of people aren't. But that's okay.
I kind of am.
Yeah, right. Like it's just, and doesn't take up a lot of time. It's not like it was an 8-minute segment. It was a couple minutes, and oh yeah, that's what's going on, and we'll come back to it next week, sort of thing. So I was fine with this.
Yep. Me too.
The women's championship tail of the tape, again, more like this is a big match feel sort of thing, which is fine.
They're really trying
They
a
are.
little too much almost.
Regal asks Ruff what he's doing, and Ruff says people think he's a joke, so he'll take on both of them. And I was like, duh, obviously. This is clearly where this is going.
Triple threat.
And that's fine.
At TakeOver War Games, probably.
And it's time for the main event, which is a lot of details for me. So I'm going to catch my breath here, and we'll get into it. The main event of Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. And my fear...
Main event match. We did have Finn Balor.
Sorry, you're
later,
right.
But...
It was not the main
but
event
no,
segment.
it's still kind of technically a main event. So
I'm really thankful that Io has been left on this roster for so long. Like, she is a special talent, to say the least. And again, I didn't always think so. When she got here and they were saying, like, she's probably the best wrestler in the world, I wasn't quite seeing it.
She's a bland as
then the heel turn,
babyface,
I was like,
yeah.
oh man, that she was amazing. And now, like, just as a fan of wrestling, and if you know what you're seeing when you watch wrestling, she is incredible. So anyways, Rhea overpowers out of the lockup right away and talks trash. Io is fast and an acrobat. She does that acrobatic and then ends in a drop kick that looks really nice. We get a slight botch by Io in the corner. I think she was trying to climb and do something, and they kind of end up taking... Ripley takes control with a shoulder tackle instead. I don't think that was the original plan, but it happened. As we said, it happens to everybody. Backflip escape and a clothesline by Io, and she kicks Ripley outside. Forearm and an electric chair face drop onto the apron by Ripley that looked good. We come back from the commercial with Ripley in control on the mat now. Missed running knees in the corner by Io, and Ripley hits a belly to back face buster, I'd called it. I didn't really know. And some stomps.
That's what I thought it was.
Good. That means I was probably right. Vertical suplex reversed into a roll-up, reversed back into a suplex for 2. I thought this was a really cool little spot and a nice show of strength by Ripley. We go split screen from a title match to show a guy walking through the parking lot. No, thank you.
I think it's Balor, right?
It was. To cut from this pretty cool match to just show a guy walking, I found it a little disrespectful almost. I didn't like it. Ripley stretches Io's arm on the mat. Io fights out, but gets put on the top rope and takes some punches. There's a battle up top now. Io escapes, and Ripley punches the turnbuckle accidentally, and that's followed by a nice German off the second rope by Io. I thought that was pretty nice.
Oh, is that why Io was targeting her arm? Because she punched the turnbuckle?
I think that was the first thing she did.
Okay, I must have missed it then.
So both are down now, and the crowd is chanting NXT. Io hits a running back elbow. Double underhook reversed by Ripley and escaped by Io. Roll through and a double stomp by Io. Kick to the face for 2 by Io. Ripley's ear is now bleeding, and she gets put in a crossface so
really
we can look at it.
It
was a weird place to be bleeding, so it makes me think it was...
not planned.
Right. Big boot by Ripley to stop the momentum here. Io takes the arm again, hits several moves targeting the arm really quickly. So quick I obviously didn't get a lot of details on it because I was pretty into this match and trying to take notes. Another basement drop kick by Io. Io then gets her over to the ropes and snaps the arm over the rope and smashes it repeatedly on the apron. We get a strike exchange on the apron and some arm-wringing takedown, and Ripley lands face first on the apron. I thought that looked pretty cool. She gives her like basic arm wringer, and in the process she drops down to the floor, and that sort of slams Ripley into the apron.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Ripley sent arm first into the steps outside, so tons of focus on this arm now. Back from commercial with a suplex by Ripley for 2. Forearm exchanges from the knees and then up to standing, and the exchange continues. We get a cravat with some knees to the head by Ripley, which I always like. It's simple but effective, I think. Followed by a basement drop kick to the shoulder for 2. The inverted cloverleaf to Io, and then she actually picks her off the ground in this and is spinning around and drops her to the ground while maintaining the hold.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was cool.
I was like, what?
It was almost like a normal person's going to just tap to my submission, but you're not a normal person, so I got to add some juice to it, right? Like, I'm going to spin you around, and then I'm going to slam you,
even think of it
basically.
like that.
It's like it takes a bit more to try and beat Io, and I like that idea. But she finally gets to the ropes. We get a 619, missed twice by Io.
How dare you?
But strikes land and Ripley is down. Then finally the 619 connects and Io gets up top for one of her nice missile drop kicks. Running knees in the corner by Io, up top, but the moonsault missed, and a big clothesline by Ripley. And here's where I got a little afraid that Ripley was going to win, because it's not that I don't like Ripley, but it's not the outcome I want.
Io Shirai, is in a great run right now, so I know what you mean.
And she's going for the riptide, and I'm worried it's over, but it's countered into a really nice DDT by Io. Io dives through this was pretty crazy. Dives through the ropes, so Ripley's on the apron at this point, right? So she
bent over, kind of.
Dives through the ropes and hooks onto a sunset bomb, and I gasped because if If she
if
doesn't
Rhea
happen,
Ripley didn't hang on.
right, and Io's then flying headfirst into the table or something awful, right? But it worked, and she hits a sunset bomb onto the announce table, and Ripley goes through it. It was a scary spot, but it was awesome. Ripley barely beats the 10 count just in time to take the moonsault to her back and the 3 count, and Io successfully defends. And I thought this was an awesome match. The powerhouse versus the technical high-flying wizard. They delivered an excellent, competitive, hard-hitting match. Io's amazing. It means she stays here longer. I'm pretty sure this is like the victory lap for Ripley. I think she's moving up again. But I thought this was a great main event, and I assume with the way they were sort of congratulating each other on the ramp after the match that was sort of like Ripley's on her way out, but I guess we'll find out. But Really liked the match. How about you?
I really liked it too. The power bomb was really cool.
Yes.
And I just wrote Io retains and moonsault to the butt.
Yes, it
There's
was.
a moonsault right on her butt.
It was. Good match.
Yeah, it was a good match. Great ending. I really love that power bomb spot. Kind of had you surprised there, right? Because like she just like leaps through, and then if Ripley didn't hang on, Io would have like died or something.
I gasped out loud because I thought she was just gonna launch herself into her death, basically.
Yeah.
So then we get Finn Balor enters the ring and starts to speak. I thought this was a cool touch too. He couldn't wait. Io Shirai's music is still playing, and he's in the ring talking with her music in the background. I thought that was a cool little touch. He starts out congratulating Shirai before getting down to business. He defended his title with a broken jaw in 2 places, which is pretty tough, I have to admit. The brand interrupt, and McAfee starts to speak now. He says this is their house now since they've taken over in the time Balor sat at home. He recaps the damage they've done to Maverick and Breezango. They basically says that they killed the group that took out Balor. Everybody wonders what Finn will say and do. If Balor has respect for wrestling, for NXT, and for Ireland, he throws in there, which I thought was interesting, then he'll hand the title to the group that's been running NXT each week. So essentially demanding Balor just hands his title to them as if that's going to happen. Balor has kind of it's a scripted WWE line, but I thought it was a decent one where he says the cat was away.
I love this line.
The cat was away so the mice could play, but the cat is back, and look what he dragged in.
I love this line.
It was good. And
it
then
was really good.
The Undisputed Era run in, and we get an ultra aggressive brawl.
I watched this already on YouTube. I still loved it.
With Balor and the Undisputed Era in control to end the show.
Yeah.
So a cool ending. I kind of don't like that the women's championship wasn't the final thing we saw.
I agree, but
I think they could have reversed the order of these two things, and I would have been even happier. But this was good too.
I'd like to add Regal announced War Games. I think it was like off air, which
Right.
I find confusing.
Right.
But whatever. Yeah, that happened as well.
So overall, what were your thoughts, bud?
So I like this segment. I don't even care how predictable it was. I loved it. You've said multiple times, predictable is not always bad.
Right.
Sometimes it's good.
It's one of my...
Pat McAfee did another pretty good promo, and Balor had a really good line that brought an Undisputed Era in just in a cool way. I predict Dunn Cole or
Yes,
maybe O'Reilly to start in War Games.
O'Reilly Dunn. Yes, please.
And I think this match will play to McAfee's strengths, given he's not really a wrestler.
Yeah.
The storyline has been super interesting for me, actually, and it's just crazy to think. I said this to you yesterday, that it's all started with just Ridge Holland dumping Adam Cole at TakeOver 31.
And honestly, I know you pretty well. I did not think there was much chance that you were going to come around on Pat McAfee, especially so quickly, but that's credit to you, right? Because you're willing to admit, like, he's interesting when he's interesting.
Yeah. And so the attacks on the other UE members throughout that one episode, and then the reveal of Pat McAfee helping Lorcan Birch at the end was incredible. I thought that was really interesting. And one of the highlights for me was the Pete Dunne turn, as it surprised me a bit, but mostly I thought he was executed really well, just like the way it was, and I love when he just shrugged at the end. That was funny.
Yeah.
And then when Pat McAfee explained it all, it just clicked to me. And the rationale for Pete Dunne's turn, when Roddy turned heel,
yeah,
I almost forgot that because it's been a while. And I'm fine with Undisputed as babyfaces because they're very talented wrestlers, all of them. And I found them always kind of likable when they were heels. I think a lot of people did, right? And other than when they were doing
they're the cool heels.
Yeah, other when they were doing that comedy crap or whatever.
Yeah, they had a chunk there where I really did not like what they were doing.
Creative's ability to make the best of the Holland injury was incredible, and props to them for once.
Yeah, they've recovered well.
It's because of this slow build. It feels quality and it feels thought out. obviously the Holland injury was out of the blue, but that didn't harm the storyline at all. And I'm actually really excited for this War Games match. And I haven't been excited for one of these War Games matches since the first one, when they brought it back in 2017.
Yeah.
And the storyline has been so good that I started to enjoy Pat McAfee.
So what would you give this show overall?
I'd give this show probably same as Dynamite, like a B+.
Okay.
Like I thought they were pretty level. Both of the shows had enjoyable wrestling,
Yep.
and then actually I'd give this maybe less of a B+, just for the blindfold match, but
Right.
both shows have really good wrestling and some decent promos throughout.
So overall, I really enjoyed this show, and I enjoyed
both.
I preferred it to Dynamite for sure this week. Again, I thought the opener with Gargano and Ruff was fine and further to story. The Loomis Grimes match was the low point for sure.
That might be the only reason I didn't like it better than Dynamite, because that was I think I liked the Sabian Cassidy better than that, so that's why I would have chosen AEW more.
I liked Thatcher Gray match, and despite the flawed logic, I have time for Ciampa Thatcher if that's where we're going.
Agreed.
I was happy Huas got on TV, so I'm okay with that. And then I thought the women's matches were all good.
All
like
three
they
of
built.
them, right?
It went from the tag match to start was pretty good, and then it got really good with the other tag match, and then the main event I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, the Brand and Balor stuff was cool, so I gave the show an A-. I really enjoyed it.
Me
And
too.
And
it feels good to enjoy NXT.
It really does. It was a fun show.
I used to enjoy it all the time, and then I didn't at all.
Oh, it's
now I do.
I enjoyed most of it.
I think since that Iron Man 4-way, it's been like getting slowly and slowly better.
Yep, it's been an enjoyable watch the last few weeks for me.
Yep.
That'll bring us to any other wrestling business.
I don't have anything, so this is all you.
It's all me. I only have a few things, obviously the usual. So we'll start with Ring of Honor Wrestling. So this is, again, Ring of Honor proper. The Pure Tournament's over. This is now just their weekly show they're going to be offering. So it starts with a really cool package reminding us, and me especially, because as I always tell you guys, I was a Ring of Honor fan years and years ago. Jack and I just haven't been able to follow it before the pandemic. It was basically unwatchable for us. We would try every now and then, and we just couldn't do it. So the Pure Tournament brought me back, and I'm still sort of watching it now. So the quick recap. So we get the reminder of La Facción Ingobernables, which I need help with because I don't know much about them. So La Diva Amy Rose speaks for this in Spanish, which I thought was really cool. And she introduces each member and their credentials. So again, for somebody like me who's coming, sort of a lapsed fan of ROH, coming back to it, they're really catching me up to speed on everything that's going on and what I need to know. So it's kind of convenient
considering
for me.
the break they took, that's really important for them.
I imagine some hardcore fans are annoyed because they're like, yeah, we know, but I don't know. So this is perfect for me. So it's Kenny King, Dragon Lee, Roosh, and Amy Rose, I guess. So there's a cool soundtrack underneath, and this is a cool way to include the group on this episode without actually having them there. I also really like that it was played even before their opening theme and video. So before the opening of the show starts, this video promo. So it grabbed my attention a little bit more than it might later in the show. And I love that they did the Spanish language with subtitles. We've said it before on here. If you let people speak in their native language,
subtitles are always an option, right?
But they just convey so much more emotion, and character comes through because they're not focused on speaking a language they don't know well. Like, you know what I mean? It's a whole lot easier to be natural and comfortable when you're allowed to speak the language that you have a mastery, right? Not
Agreed.
One that you're just learning right now.
Be like if I went to Japan, I'd cut a promo in Japanese.
And at the same time, you have to focus on making it feel natural and convey whatever emotion. Like, you're just trying to get the words out because you don't know them very well.
Right.
So doing this and trusting that your audience is okay reading subtitles, I think it adds a ton. Let people speak the language they speak. It's not that hard, people. Anyways, Quinn tells us there's 2 big matches tonight, and then they recap the King Dalton match, which annoyed me because it was a really long recap, and this is like a 50-minute show. You don't have time to... It was a good match and stuff, but this was probably 3 or 4 times longer than the recaps they normally do, so I didn't quite understand this. Then we get Brody Lee's post-match 20-second comments, which were basically a fire's lit inside of him, and just violence seems to be his motto. So we get SOS, the Soldiers of Savagery.
That's a cool name.
They're pretty interesting tandem. And the Briscoes share a video package where they talk tough and insult each other, and they're going to face each other on this episode. It was a fine promo.
I thought they were a tag team.
Who?
Briscoes.
They are.
So
they're going to face the Soldiers of Savagery.
Oh, I thought they were facing... The Briscoes were facing each other.
No, sorry. They're facing the SOS. So this was fine. These teams have very similar promo styles. Not bad, just similar. I'm intrigued by SOS because I don't know much about them, and Briscoes I've seen a ton because if you've followed ROH at all, they've always been there and they're quite good. So we do get their match next. EC3 is on commentary, and he's doing this super serious, emotionless thing, and his commentary is so awful. It was making me laugh. It was unintentionally hilarious. He's trying to be
funny.
mysterious and cryptic and really verbose, and it's really bad to the point of being funny. So
I assume verbose means the whatever.
Lots and lots of words.
Okay.
So he's got
because big words. He is smart.
There is a huge double suplex at one point to Khan. The Briscoes end up winning with a Spicoli driver and a froggy bow. EC3 then stands motionless and stares on the ramp as the Briscoes leave. It was a decent match. Moses got most of the time for SOS, and he looked pretty good. Khan has a cooler look, but he's a little less polished, I think. I think they're both fairly young, but lots of potential, and they look cool. They look like they would just beat people up, to be honest, so they looked good.
Nice.
Then we get a Bateman and Taven share a video package and talk about each other, and Taven will have to go through Bateman to get to Vincent. I thought this was decent. I'm not a big fan of Taven. Bateman, it was cool to see because I've been watching...
Where's TK Orion?
I've been watching Bateman for years on Championship Wrestling for Hollywood, one of my really guilty pleasures. So to see him on like a national thing was cool, and I'm happy for him. Then the Briscoes talk to Quinn after their match. They're coming for Gresham and Lethal in the tag titles, and they wonder what's wrong with EC3 for standing in their way on the ramp. And one of the Briscoes, I forget which one, is challenging EC3 next week. Hooray. We then get a Shane Taylor package where he talks about his background and his tough upbringing. He grew up around violence, and wrestling saved his life by giving him somewhere to go and something to focus on. He talks a lot about Ray Rowe and how close they are. Then he talks about tagging with Keith Lee, and they even show some pictures of that, I think. So he says he needs to beat Kenny King tonight, and he works best when he creates a reason to hate his opponent. He wants the world championship, so that's kind of what he's shooting for. He's an interesting guy, and he speaks very well. I've been impressed with him so far since they've sort of rebooted the show. I think he's someone they can focus on, and by the looks of it, they are. So Kenny King speaks.
Nice.
He complains about the Pure Tournament and losing his decision to Josh Woods. He got a lawyer, and he reads his letter in Spanish, then English about being mistreated in ROH. I thought this was really lame. He puts over Shane Taylor, but says he's not passing the torch, and Taylor is one step behind him still. The second half of this promo was interesting, where he actually started talking about Taylor. The first half was not. So then we get King and Taylor. Only a couple notes on it, really. Some of the forearm shots that Shane Taylor hits are humongous, and they look really painful, yes.
Nice.
So Taylor dominates most of the match with the commentary team putting over his strikes. Then we get a huge package pile driver by Taylor for a near fall, shortly followed by his welcome to the land, which is a cool looking move. And Taylor wins what was a pretty good main event, actually. So ROH feels like an actual show now. When we would try and watch this before, it just seemed
like... It was like a bunch of old stuff.
Yeah, it looked like random clips from house shows
random.
that they sewed together.
Or so like pay-per-view, or like, I don't know.
This current format's a huge improvement, but I feel like the size of their roster will make it so like you're not seeing many people each week, you know what I mean? Because they only have an hour of television and a pretty decent-sized roster, and I seem to remember NXT doing that when they were an hour. Like, you would basically... see this group on one week, and you wouldn't see all of them the next week.
I forgot they used to be an hour.
Right? So
it's been so long.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think they're going to maybe struggle with how to divide the time up, because 50 minutes a week to get all that talent and story developed is not a lot, so we'll see how they do it.
Right, because the hour is including commercials, right?
And it seems like since their return, they're pushing some different stars like Brody King and Shane Taylor. And I'm a sucker for that, right? I don't want to see the same people at the top again. So I thought this was a good show, but not great.
Even like EC3 would be new for them, right? Like,
no, he's had... Well, yeah, for them he would
like
be.
He hasn't been there.
Yeah. So this was a good show, but not great. And the fact that it's only an hour makes it fly by, and I gave it a B. So a solid show, not amazing.
Nice.
Okay, Impact Wrestling. Here we go.
The sigh.
Yeah, because I just don't know if anyone cares. I guess the thing is, Impact Wrestling isn't really covered anywhere. So and that's kind of why I didn't want to do main roster on this show, because it's done to death, right?
And it's not interesting.
And there's a lot of people covering AEW, but not a ton of people covering NXT, and almost no one covering Impact or ROH.
Plus, I would just want to cover AEW out of my sheer love of it.
It's true. All right, so Impact Wrestling, it won't take too long, I hope. Moose defeats Willie
I
Mack
hope so too.
with his lights out spear and repeated elbows again until the ref stops the match. So this felt very similar to Turning Point, as it might have sounded similar, other than the fact that he didn't get it wasn't overturned this time, right? So it's a decent match. Moose's entrance makes him look like a legit star, and I
kind of like Tony Storm's entrance.
Yes, she looks good too.
Yep.
I really hope he gets a real title reign. I put in brackets real since I don't count the TNA Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a real title reign soon because Swan isn't working for me, and I think Moose could be a champion.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a Rascals Treehouse segment, and it's cold in there because they're being evicted. The heat's been turned off, and eventually the lights go out
How'd
too.
you have heat in a treehouse?
I don't know. It was an amusing segment. It included Gail Kim at one point.
Really?
Yep. And again, these segments aren't for me. I don't love them, but I can see why other people do enjoy it. So I'm not going to say it was bad. It's just not for me. The Dreamer investigation time. Hooray. You like this because you know I suffered.
Yes.
Yeah. Dreamer
I
investigation.
just can hear the audible sigh every time. Just the
I'll take it out in post.
all the happiness and joy just leaves your voice.
Yeah. Dreamer investigation time, and he's with the Deaners, and it's a waste of time, and the camera is obnoxiously...
It's a waste of time. No,
It's
really.
obnoxiously zoomed in and focused on Dreamer's mouth for some reason. Not his face, his mouth. The Deaners tell Dreamer to focus on Swinger and his fanny pack because they noticed a gun in there before, right? In the fanny pack. And I resent taking the time to type this segment. Gio, who is a young, fit guy with a ponytail, because I've never seen him before, he defeats Suicide by DQ when Eric Young brings Joe Doring down, and
yeah,
Doring...
I keep seeing this on Instagram. I don't even know who Gio is.
He's just... So the whole point was that this match didn't really happen. Basically, Eric Young comes down with Doring, and they take out Gio with a huge clothesline, a running crossbody.
Suicide was cool.
And then Suicide gets a power bomb. So I was wondering what this match was doing here, but it made sense after. It's further evidence that EY and his new backup will simply just be attacking people on the roster, and I kind of like it, right? Simple but effective. He's unhinged, and he just attacks people. So keeping it simple is good because I think, and I'll get into it later, this is what I think Impact needs to do. When they try to get creative and complicated with like Wrestle House or the money storyline, it rarely delivers. So just keep it simple. Anyways, well, I'll get into it later.
When you had to cover Wrestle House every week.
Yeah, that was great. Well, I feel like it's similar now with this attempted murder investigation. Yeah. But anyways, Gia's backstage with Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo. Purrazzo talks about being a 2-time champ in just 6 months with the company. So I'm thinking, is that a compliment or an insult, right? Like, you're already a 2-time champion, but it also means you did not defend it for very long because you've had it twice in 6 months. But anyways, Lee and Purrazzo talk about going after the tag team titles next. And then the picture goes sort of shaky and glitchy. And when it returns to normal, there's a message reading, "Next week, your time has come," scrawled across a mirror in the background. It was short and sweet. I liked it. It's a continued build of these weird occurrences whenever Purrazzo and Lee are interviewed. I guess it's Sue Young's involved still, but we'll find out. Again, fairly simple so far. I just hope they don't try to get too creative with this sort of angle.
I don't want them to be creative.
Like just a little bit.
Be creative.
Right? Then we get Heath and Rhino are backstage talking in a room, and Heath says he's got the number of Rich Swann's therapists since physical therapists since Swann was back so quickly from his injury. He's going to use the same one. Rhino steps out of the room for a minute,
but Swann had a kayfabe injury.
Yes, exactly. And I think that might be part of the joke. Like, he recovered so quickly from that devastating injury, ha ha ha, right? Which, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So Rhino steps out of the room just as EY and Doring approach, and Rhino sort of tries to sound... Actually, I think he did a good job. He's saying, like, listen, I know what you guys are here to do, and it's not going to happen here. But then it does, because Doring just takes him out. And then basically we cut away as Rhino's been taken out and Doring goes into the room where injured Heath is, and we just see the sort of door close behind them, and the assumption is that they're just going to attack Heath in that room. Again, I like this. Straightforward, simple storytelling. EY is unhinged, and he's got a big hoss of a sidekick who's just waiting to take out whoever EY wants him to, right? I'm not a huge fan of Doring's smoking guns-esque attire, as I told you before. But other than that, I'm interested in this. And the guy has literally not said a word. He's just attacked people, and that's it. But it works for me. I'm a simple man, I guess.
Yep.
Brian Myers defeats Crazy Steve with his clothesline finisher, ?
Clothesline from hell, I guess.
It's funny you say that. It's about to come up. In just an okay match. If a clothesline is your finisher, it better look like JBL's or better. Because honestly, his I can't stand the man, but his finisher looked devastating, and it was just a clothesline. Brian Myers does not look like that. So Myers yelling at Crazy Steve and the ref at the very beginning to do their jobs and be professional, I thought was funny, because that's his character, right? Is he's the most professional wrestler. So he's yelling, the ref saying whatever. He's like, do your job, be professional. And I thought that was kind of funny. Myers is just toiling in the lower mid card now, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. And I don't think they're sure either by the looks of it. And I like Crazy Steve in the ring. I don't know. I feel like he should be part of a mid card or slightly higher tag team. There's a spot for him, I think. And the fact that you told me he's legally blind always amazes me now.
I know, that's insane. I was honestly surprised.
Great news. We're back to Dreamer in his investigation. He's interviewing Johnny Swinger now at the request of the Deaners.
Either when you cover it, you're just like disappointed, or you're being incredibly sarcastic, which I find funny.
And Dreamer asks, what's to see in the fanny pack?
You're like sarcastically enthusiastic.
Swinger is pretty funny as usual. Like, honestly, the character he does, he owns it, and in small doses I find it entertaining, but he can't save this segment. Swinger eventually shows the gun, and Dreamer announces that Swinger shot Bravo so that he'll be in Wrestler's Court next week. So there's our segment next week. And I guess this is how attempted murder investigations go. Whoever has a weapon that might have been used without testing the weapon or making sure that it has anything to do with the crime. But if you have a weapon that matches the description of the weapon used, you're guilty, and it's over. So be careful.
Watch, it's going to be someone completely different.
Well,
I
like
bet it'll be
someone
Rosemary.
Anyways, it's just this idea that, you've got a gun and he was shot, so you're guilty.
All right, yo, I'm calling it now. It's Rosemary.
We'll see. I can't care enough to speculate.
If I'm right, I am going to be so proud of myself.
So this was too much suspension of disbelief for me. Please let this end next week with Wrestler's Court is what I'm hoping. Then we get a first round match in the Knockouts Tag Tournament. It's Tennille Dashwood and a new partner for her, Alicia, versus Havoc and Nevaeh. So Caleb comes out, as he always does, to introduce Tennille, and I thought he's noticeably more comfortable in his character this week. I thought he did a really good job here, and I haven't thought so before this. I actually like him more as time goes by, and Dashwood less as time goes by, interestingly enough. So I actually enjoyed this match, even with Alicia involved on offense. I thought she looked pretty good, and normally I
find that weird because it's like you want to find a good partner, so you go to Alicia Edwards.
Right, and I think it's that's all she can get sort of thing, and that Dashwood's focus isn't really on it anyways. Like, she's worried about getting good content even during the matches, like getting pictures and good angles for pictures and stuff, which I get that character and I should find it interesting, but I don't know if they're not doing it well. It's not super interesting to me. Anyways, Havoc and Nevaeh win with when Nevaeh hits a cutter. I think I prefer Nevaeh to Havoc, even though when they clearly focus on Havoc, I just find like her facial expressions and her acting take me out of her like evil, mysterious, dangerous gimmick character. Whereas I kind of like Nevaeh. I don't know why. There's something about her. I think she's good. So this furthered the story that Tennille cannot work with others, obviously, as she takes the loss again, and it's truly all about her. Another thing that bugs me is Tennille takes nothing seriously as her character. Like, one of her signature quote-unquote moves right now is to give people noogies. And
what?
For me, giving noogies to people who resurrect evil masterminds, right? Like, that doesn't work for me. These are supposed to be dark, evil, mysterious, like magical characters
who are being neutralized by noogies.
By a social media influencer is giving them noogies in mid-match, right? So
when you put it like that,
maybe it is
so
good.
Stupid.
Maybe it's brilliant. I don't know.
No, when you put it like that, it sounds so stupid.
That's what it was, right? They literally just resurrected James Mitchell from the dead to perform. Oh my God, I can't even be saying to perform a wedding, and now they're taking.
Someone gets shot.
Now they're taking noogies. All right. So Jordan Grace is backstage on the phone talking to her Here's where I'm going to ask you to speculate on who this could be, because I don't really know. She's talking to an unidentified tag partner on the phone. She thanks her partner for agreeing and says she knew she had to act fast after hearing that her partner was going to retire. And I thought this was a simple way to add a bit of intrigue to next week's shows.
Gil Kim.
That's what I thought too, but I thought she has already retired. And it seemed like Grace was saying was about to retire, because that's where my mind went right away.
Whose partner is this, sorry? Dashwood
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's in the tournament, but her partner is to be announced. And Killer Kelly is in the tournament as well. Who we've met, Aunt Kelly, right? We met her.
Yeah, you didn't know who it was.
I didn't recognize who it was. I felt bad. She was really nice, though. I have to
Yeah,
say.
I was like,
Jack's like, look, and he's pointing there, and I'm like, who is that? And he was like, Killer Kelly. I think I needed to see her if she had a mouth guard in, I would have known it was her.
yeah, because she's just gonna wear a mouth
at
guard
the
when
bar.
she's not wrestling at a indie show.
But she was really nice. I think she was like, because she's not very famous, right? So I think she was just very happy to have somebody recognize her and want a picture. She was really nice.
Yeah.
So then
I'm a cool boy.
Hernandez defeated Falaba with a frog splash. So this is still the missing money story, and this is an example of something they've made.
They're just continuing to punish you.
And it's way too complicated and very makes it less interesting to me. It's dragged on for far too long with many turns and different people getting involved, and it's not interesting. And I can't lie to you, this match wasn't good either.
Huh, nice.
Rohit is bragging and annoying Scott D'Amore, who in turn is annoying me with his smug character. Rohit leaves and TJP shows up, and D'Amore basically tells TJP to get around the stipulation about never getting another shot against Rohit by assuming another character. I'm thinking maybe suicide or something. Like he's literally. I thought this made TJP seem really not too bright, because D'Amore is not being subtle at all about his idea, and TJP doesn't seem to be getting it. He's basically like,
I bet it would. No.
Nobody named TJP can ever get a title match. Any other character with any other name can get a match. What would Dusty Rhodes do in this situation? Like, that's literally what he's doing. And TJP's
Dusty Rhodes, what?
Because he did that.
Oh.
He was the Midnight Rider.
Oh, what about Manic?
Wow.
Remember the TNA anniversary thing? TJP was Manic.
So,
Because Suicide's doing other stuff right now because it's whoever, right? So,
not really. He's just a
well, yeah, but
jobber.
like he's doing other. He's like someone else is using him, right? So I think maybe he could go in as Manic.
So basically, D'Amore was just clubbing him over the head with the idea, and TJP is kind of standing there. So I don't know.
He's like, "What? I could do this."
Yeah. Then we get a Good Brother vignette recapping their dominant time in Impact, culminating in their title win. Must be great to be booked to never lose or ever have anyone go over you in any way. Anyways, they say, and so do the
outsiders.
They say, and so do the commentators, that their phenomenal friend is coming. So there was that little tease.
Unless AJ Styles' contract is up soon. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
All right, here's where I get a little bit worked up.
Woohoo!
I'll try and stay calm. So it's the main event time, right? So it's Rich Swann and Trey Miguel, and they defeat Dez and Wentz in what I thought was a super fun, really good, I was actually going to try and find it and send it to you, match, both in the ring and afterwards. So this match won't be everyone's cup of tea, because it was clearly... Apparently these guys are really, really close friends anyways, and they spend a ton of time in the ring just working on stuff and trying to one-up each other. So this was them doing that, right? So there's a lot of choreographed stuff, and there's a lot of clearly planned out things or things that they've done, but it was really fun to watch. It was really fast, athletic, creative stuff happening all over the place, and yes, a couple really choreographed things that normally bug me, but something about this didn't. They were clearly doing things they've practiced together a million times, and it looked like they were really having fun. And the post-match scene, and you guys know, you've listened to this, I've covered this for like 5 months now. I haven't really cared about the Rascals very much. This post-match scene was super emotional. These guys were all crying. It looked legitimate, like they're upset. And that this phase of their career is sort of ending, and this was super compelling television to me. I was really into this. And here's where I get angry now. Because this is what you need to do. It made me angry because I enjoyed it so much. Where has this type of action, first of all, in the ring?
Like, they could have been doing this kind of stuff all along.
And maybe they were before I started watching, but I don't know. And realistic storytelling, that's the big thing. I've been watching this program closely now for like 5 or 6 months, and I've never found the Rascals engaging. They've always just been the young...
And now as they're leaving, right?
Right. They're the young athletic group that has a good time and wins occasionally, but not very often when I'm watching, right? They've been losing to Triple XL repeatedly lately. So this now shows me what they're capable of if given something decent to work with, and maybe they needed opponents that can keep up with them too. That might be part of the issue, right? Is they can't have this match with Triple XL, obviously. And more than ever, it feels like Impact wasted some opportunities with these guys. The simple, realistic nature of this story at the end here is what allows me and people like me to connect with your characters and start to care, right? I, and many people I'm sure out there, we can relate to leaving a job that you really liked and leaving people you really enjoyed working with to seek what you hope to be a better opportunity elsewhere, right? I can't relate to having my giant wad of money that I made arm wrestling get stolen. I can't relate to forcing my enemies to resurrect an evil monster to officiate my wedding. I can't relate to being involved in a comedic attempted murder investigation. And this is what I mean. They're trying too hard a lot of the time. AEW clearly has the creative people to pull off some out there storylines and things. No offense, Impact Wrestling, you don't. So it doesn't mean you can't offer a good product, an entertaining product, a more entertaining one than you currently do. I've loved your show in the past, maybe over a decade ago, but nonetheless. And I really do want to love it again. But so much of your creative direction is just missing me. And I think a lot of other people.
Yeah.
You have the talent in ring. I'm not complaining about them. You just need to sort the rest of this out. So I guess it's this weird situation where I love this main event, but it made me really angry at the same time. Because this is exactly the stuff they're not doing. And they did it here, and it was amazing. And I don't really care about the Rascals. And I was emotional watching this. It was...
you made a good point, and then when you were recapping the dumb stuff, that was kind of funny.
Right? Like, I can't relate to that. I want to connect to your stars. I want to connect to their storylines. I get leaving one job for another and it being bittersweet, right? I don't get the other storylines. So anyways, that's my sort of rant for the week. So the main event and that final ending was amazing. The rest of the show was just okay. So I guess if I had to give it a grade, I would give it a... B- this week, I guess, almost a C+, nice. I guess. So decent, but not amazing.
At least the main event was good.
So sorry, I got to recover from that. Tried to not get too angry there. All right, you ready? We're going to do the only other thing I have for any other business is our Survivor Series preview and predictions.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got, and it's funny because you were saying, like, who did you say what show is going to do pretty well? Raw?
I think SmackDown.
And I said to Jack, and it's true, that outside of Roman Reigns, I pretty much don't know who's on any show, so I don't really know who's going to do well.
Well, that's just you, and also you don't watch it, and also I wouldn't blame you for not paying attention or giving a crap at all.
Even if I did watch it, there's a chance I still wouldn't know. All right, so Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn for stuff and things.
I think this could go either way, but I think Sami Zayn needs the win, so I'm going to go Sami Zayn.
That's good. We differ. I'm going to take Lashley because I think Lashley should have a giant piece of gold around his waist all the time because look at him, he's amazing.
Well, yeah, it's not for the titles though.
Oh yeah, that's true. But anyways, he'll just win. Okay.
I think Sami though needs the win. I'm just gonna say because he's been doing really good with the storyline lately. Ever since Clash of Champions in that ladder match, which I really liked.
Yep. I love that.
Really been enjoying him. Like, well, I haven't been watching him, but like, I just think he's been doing better as of late.
And I love.
So I think he needs to continue that with a win over a credible star like Lashley.
And I assume he's still doing the same character work, which I love. The last time I've seen a bit of it. With it. So New Day versus Street Profits.
I think New Day are a very established team. And I think Street Profits really need a win here.
So who are you taking?
I'm going to go Street Profits.
Oh, so am I. We agree. I thought you were going New Day. I started typing it in.
No, I think New Day are a very credible team. I don't think they'll be hurt by a loss here.
Asuka, Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks has been doing really well lately off that Hell in a Cell match. I'm going to have to go Sasha Banks.
I did too.
Well, it's not for the title.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
So now we have the Women's Survivor Series match. So Nia, Baszler, Lacey,
I'm going to go SmackDown. Raw's team is kind of lame except for Shayna Baszler.
SmackDown's got 2 that are to be determined, or did they get put in since I got this?
No, I think it's full. I think Natalia's one of the ones that got confirmed.
Okay. So you're taking too. SmackDown?
Yeah.
I took Raw just because I was kind of like a coin toss. I don't really know.
I want Raw to win because Baszler is on the team and I want Baszler to win, but I don't think they will because other than Baszler and then maybe Nia Jax, their team's weak. To the point where they had to replace Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke with Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans, really?
Strong.
Yeah.
Men's Survivor Series match. Raw, which is Keith Lee, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Braun, and Riddle.
I'm going to go Raw, I guess, because I think they've been building it a bit.
I also took Raw just because I had to pick one. I don't really know.
Because I had to pick one.
And it's going to be one of those two, so
I think I'm picking SmackDown a lot, but mostly because I think they're going to win. But I think Raw, they've at least been building, like, will they get along? Like, I feel like SmackDown has been, like, they've been mostly trying to figure out who's on the team, just from what I've seen. And then Raw's been more, we're building the team. Like, they figured their team out early on, so there's been more building it. So I think Raw.
A lot of deep thought. I went with the one that was fewer characters to type, so I took Raw. And then finally, unless I'm missing something, which you'll let me know, I'm sure, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns has been in the run of his career.
He's not losing for a long time.
He's been in the run of his career. He's going to win. Drew McIntyre will not be hurt by this loss.
I agree. Are there any matches I'm missing?
I don't think so.
I looked yesterday. That's all there was.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless there's some lame 24/7 title kickoff match.
Perfect. So that ends our Any Other Wrestling Business segment and takes us into...
quite a lengthy one, but
we're actually doing okay on time. It won't be our longest episode, depending on the length of this last segment, which is where Jack takes a few minutes to talk about the world of action figures. It is Figuring It Out with Jack while his father drinks coffee.
Is that the new title now?
No. Well, that's the unofficial title.
The unofficial title. All right. Well, first we just got recently some render images for AEW Unrivaled for Sammy Guevara. So it looks pretty good. Face scan's got like that tongue out expression.
Oh yeah, that came across the stuff I look at somehow. Yeah, I saw that.
And then so we've got Basic 115 has been revealed. This series includes Sheamus with his current look, which looks pretty nice. Then we got... Sorry, I'm just looking at my thing here. Wait, no, Sheamus is 16. Sorry, that's my bad.
Oh my goodness. You're fired.
Okay.
Nope.
So we got Big E to match the, I believe, Series 114 Kofi Kingston in that all-white attire from Elimination Chamber.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then we got Becky Lynch in just her average attire with that cool ponytail head scan. Different knee pad design, so I think that's the only difference between her previous Battle Pack figure with Seth Rollins. Then we got a run-of-the-mill Braun Strowman, just with his current serious expression, then just a different logo on the tank top.
Right.
Really nothing to look at there. And then we got Tegan Nox, who has a cool attire.
Oh, you showed me the face scan.
And a new knee brace mold that looks pretty cool.
And
but
the
face scan is terrible.
It's really bad.
It is.
I could give you 100 guesses of what wrestler it is, and you would not. I don't think you would get to her quickly.
Yeah. And then we got Humberto Carrillo.
Your favorite.
Nah, and he's also the Chase variant. Normal one's a black and red attire, and then the Chase variant's white and blue, which looks pretty nice. Alright, so now Series 116, which has current Sheamus, which I think the face scan, unlike Tegan Nox, this one's really good. Like, I really like that one.
Yep.
I'm definitely
Well,
gonna...
I mean, in their defense, Tegan Nox probably hasn't had a lot of figures done, right?
Yeah.
So.
I'm definitely going to pick up that Sheamus because the only other Sheamus I have is also a basic, and so I'd like to get a current Sheamus that looks really nice. Then we got Seth Rollins from Survivor Series last year in the red attire. Looks pretty nice.
Yep.
But they messed up the kick pads because see how the kick pads are black on the back?
Yep.
It's supposed to be red on the back. So
details, my friend.
No, I just saw it in the this guy's story because he tells you what the attires are from, and it's got like that red Raw armband. It looks pretty good for the most part. And then we got Kevin Owens and Stun Owens stun shirt, pretty average. I think it's just the different shorts, maybe. That's different about this one. And then we got first time in the line Dakota Kai.
Yeah,
which
one of my favorites.
Nice. Cap Coda shirt on that one. Then we got Roderick Strong, who's wearing the green attire from TakeOver War Games 2018, I believe. No, 2019.
Trying to think. Dakota might be... Io's probably my favorite women's wrestler.
And then Chase variant's Roderick Strong. And this the Chase Roderick Strong is like a pre-Undisputed Era one.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. And then we got an Elite 82 figure reeled, the last one of the set, Rob Gronkowski from WrestleMania 36. He's got the cloth jacket and sunglasses from WrestleMania 36 and the 24/7 title.
Oh my god.
And
they immortalized that outfit.
The face scan is very accurate, and I hate how good it looks, the face scan.
Yeah, but that is pretty good.
The figure's brutal.
Quite the outfit, too.
Yep, that's all I got.
Very nice.
Yeah, well, except for Gronk. That's not nice.
That will bring us to the end of episode 18 of this podcast. Thanks to everyone that's made it this far and is still listening.
Now. Maybe 3 months.
What? How long we've been doing it?
Yeah.
Well, that would be 4.5 months. No.
I think
there's 4 weeks in a month.
No, it's been over 4 months.
That's what I said. 4.5. We've done 18 episodes.
I thought you said 3.5.
Plus bonus episodes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun still for me. So we'll keep doing it as long as we keep seeing there's people listening. We did have a good week with listener growth and followers, right? So, and yeah, somebody contacted us, so that was super exciting. Made my week. My wife thought it was funny how excited I was that we finally got an email.
Well, we actually did get it courtesy of, I think Mom put something
putting it on Facebook.
On Facebook, so yeah.
I told her she's our VP of marketing now, so I don't think she likes the role or the salary that comes with it, but she'll do it for us. She's helpful that way. So thanks a lot to everybody for listening and checking us out, and we look forward to, I don't know if we'll do a Survivor Series specific episode or not. We'll see how much time we have and if we feel motivated to do it. Hopefully the show is so amazing that we just want to come and do one, but you never know. If not, we'll talk about it quickly on next week's show on Saturday. So that being said, I think this is us signing off. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here next Saturday.
Peace out.